Well, welcome to the Lion Richlands up here in Queensland, Brisbane. It's another beautiful day and another beautiful evening for some National Premier League's semi-final action, and it is the champions and premiers of Queensland Lions against the Victorian premiers and reigning national champions Heidelberg United. Should be a really fantastic encounter this, and alongside me, Simon Smale, is Lions player and former Brisbane striker Jonty Richter. Jonty, this should be quite an exciting game and a wonderful opportunity for both these sides to get through to a national final.
Yeah, exactly. Evening, Simon. Great night for football as well. Around 15 degrees, I think. Pitch in excellent condition for this time of the season, as the groundsman here, Mick, keeps on begging me to say. So, Mick, your field's looking great, mate. But, yeah, Heidelberg, perennial achievers, I should say, where they've been on this stage many a time and even taken out the title. So Lions really up against it tonight from a quality side, but all to play for, and I'm sure both sides looking forward to that grand final if they can get there. Yeah,
you've earned the contents of that brown paper bag that Mick just gave you, the groundsman here at Lions. It is a fantastic surface. We walked across it just before, and it's just like a carpet. The teams are out, and we'll just run you through them quickly. Lions have made a couple of changes from their quarter-final victory over Edgeworth Eagles on Saturday. It was a lacklustre occasion here at Lions, I think it's safe to say. It was a tough game to watch. Jonty, I know you were lying in bed with man flu, enjoying that game, or he was enjoying the wrong word.
That's right. I flicked it over to watch the block or something, unfortunately. But no, a real tough one end of the season for both sides, and a bit of heavy legs, I suppose we call it. But Lions are happy to get through that one in a close 1-0 win.
Well, we'll mention why those legs might be heavy in a few short moments, but just one inclusion into the starting lineup, and that is Matthias Imich. He comes in as a straight swap for Nathan Reardon, who went down pretty heavily towards the end of that game. I dare say he'll have a bit of concussion, but it's a fair swap. Matthias Imich and Tommy Gerard have been pretty good all year. Yeah,
I mean, Rito's done excellently when he's come in, a very experienced head, so he will be missed tonight. But Simic, obviously the club captain as well, and an absolute stalwart at the back, and him and Tommy Gerard have had a great partnership this whole year, and have contributed to them only conceding the record of the lowest goals of any NPL club in the country. So yeah, he's certainly a good inclusion for the team and a great leader. I'm sure the Lion players will look to him to get him through this one.
Yeah, it's just 11 goals in 26 National Premier League's Queensland appearances for Lions, including 17 clean sheets for their unique goalkeeper Luke Barré, and I think both shot stoppers here today have their certain character traits, but we'll get on to that shortly, and instead we'll turn our attention to Heidelberg United. They had an extra time victory, a penalties victory in their semi-final on Friday night, so they'll certainly have heavy legs, and they've played 10 games over the last 48 days and have 2 more knockout encounters in both the National Premier League's Victoria Grand Final and the FFA Cup in the next 8. So there's a lot of football to be played for Heidelberg, and it's going to be really tough for them.
That's right. I mean, they've done excellently this season, and it's always tough travelling on the day of the game and getting up for it. And as you said, that they've played a lot of football lately and a few little niggly injuries, and unfortunately quite a major one to the man Alex Schiavo, the former Lions player, where, I'm sure they will be up for this one tonight, but I'm sure that little doubt can creep in every now and again if Lions get on top early, and it's always easier to feel the heavy legs then and go hiding. But I'm sure their coach has got them up for it, and they've got a lot of experience in their side as well. Half of Queensland playing down there as well, which makes it good. So they'll be used to these conditions. But yeah, it's good to see them up here again and challenging the semi-final.
There are a couple of familiar faces. Ruben Way, of course, being one of them, the former Redlands United and Olympic player, as well as Paul O'Brien. He won the National Premier League Queensland Grand Final 2016 with Redlands. Our referee today is Martin Kreenis, and he gets things underway. It is Heidelberg in the black and yellow, kicking from left to right against Lions in the orange. And Luke Barré is the goalkeeper, and you mentioned it was perfect conditions for football. That doesn't stop the beanie from coming on from Luke Barré.
No, that's his lucky charm, I think. But I think we've talked about it before. Lions, quite a physical team, not in the sense of overpowering teams, just generally as bodies. But Heidelberg, I think, can match him for that tonight, so that'll be a good leveller. But we'll both look to see how these sides settle into the game.
Stephen Pace with the strong header over Matthias Imich. An opportunity early on here for Tom Cahill. He's the top scorer for Heidelberg this year. He scored 19 in all competitions. And an early opportunity for him. Heidelberg doing the early running here, and that's a really good opportunity now, but it's played out wide. Josh Wilkins swings that ball back in, and then Luke Breen should be able to deal with that from Harry Noon, and he does deal with it fairly comfortably.
Yeah, tough one there for Harry Noon. Not much pace on that cross, and he's sort of facing the wrong way as well. So Luke Borien, we know how good he's been for Lions this season. You're not going to beat him with that kind of header.
So 17 clean sheets has been absolutely remarkable. Shepherd, some remarkable skill, and that lays off Mitch Hoare. Early opportunity for Lions. It's just too far ahead of former A-League star Juan Carlos Solzano, who did tell me the correct pronunciation of that earlier on, and I told him I'd leave it to you, Jonty.
That's right. Well, good cross there by Mitch Hoare in between the defence. Unfortunately, didn't find Salazano. But he's really come into it the last 5-6 games for Lions. He has struggled a little bit with hamstring injuries this season. He's getting on in the 30s, as I know all about. But he's really contributed well for Lions, so they'll look to him to lead that line with Madley up there.
Hasn't scored in his last 6 matches for Lions, has Juan Carlos. Did manage a goal on his debut against the league's, I think it's fair to say, the league's whipping boys, Sunshine Coast. Has lovely football from Madley to Solzano. He's looking for an option. Mitch Hoare is that option. He's going to keep battling Mitch Hoare, and it's fallen for Sean Carlos. Sean Carlos with the shot. It's deflected away by Ruben Way. And now that's a nice pick-up from Thompson. He can't quite keep it in over on that far side. Bright start from the Lions. Yeah,
and good little scrambled defence there from the Burgers as well. Sean Carlos there just on the edge of the box. Didn't quite have the old step-overs. I think that Makwase might have contributed to if he was here tonight, but unfortunately suffered a nasty ankle injury in the grand final. But also for Makwase, had a little baby girl this week, so congratulations to him and his family.
Fantastic news. Excellent. Sure he'll have an excuse to keep his feet up for at least the next couple of days before the hard work starts with changing nappies.
Yeah, now as I know, your life does change, and it doesn't matter how many times people tell you, until you have your own, you don't know what you're in for. So good luck, Makwase.
He picked up that injury in the 2-1 victory in the National Premier League's Queensland Grand Final. That was a tough encounter, that one. Went to extra time as well. It's Steve White who gave Olympic the early lead. And it was goals from Nathan Reardon and Marek Madley in extra time to secure Lions their double for the first time in their first season in the National Premier League's Queensland. It's a hell of an achievement for Lions and their coach, Warren Moon, 36-year-old. He's done a really good job, the former Queensland Raw player back in the early days of the Hyundai A-League. And he's really got this team playing some really good football, hasn't he, John T?
Yeah, he is a really good coach, and I know some people say he's a young coach, but that shouldn't stop you being a good one. And every team he's gone to has won things, and every player likes to play for him. As Heidelberg get forward here with Danny Kim doing a nice cover defending job again, as he has done all season.
It's good work from Sean Ellis, just flicking that ball through to Josh Wilkins. And that'll be a threat for Lions down the right-hand side. A little bit sloppy, and that just allowed Nathan Shepherd to pick up that ball from Stephen Pace, but Heidelberg do still have possession. That's a good run, it's a clumsy tackle, no foul, says our referee Martin Kriener. So I think there'll be plenty of players and supporters down in Heidelberg today watching at the Catalina Street HQ.
That's right.
They'll be calling and shouting at the TV, no doubt. Yeah,
a bit of a shoulder-to-shoulder there. I think a bit lucky to get away with that one, Salazano, but good to see him tracking back there and helping out.
Madley on the ball now. Shepherd to Josh Brindle-South. Brindle-South with the cross, and it's being deflected behind by Josh Wilkins. It will be the first corner of the day. And a good opportunity now for Lions to get their big men up. There certainly a couple of players blessed with height in the side. Matthias Imich and Tommy Gerard,
especially
amongst them.
Late on in the season as well, Lions have done really well from corners, as we saw in the grand final with Reardon rising up for the winner. But Heidelberg, as we said, got some big boys as well, so I'm sure they're up for the task.
Mentioned that Heidelberg travelled up here today. A few of the players actually came up yesterday in order to get the breast preparation, which speaks a lot about how seriously the National Premier League's Victorian premiers are taking this game. So Andy Thompson doesn't quite get hold of that, but it's fallen to Mitch Hoare on the edge. Might come back for Mitch Hoare.
Just talked up the corner credentials of Lions, and then Tomo whips that one in.
It wasn't one of his better ones, was it, Johnson?
No, it wasn't as sharp as his haircut, that one. But anyway, see if he gets another one.
Sure, the chances will come once again. Solzano getting involved there. That time a fair tackle. There was certainly a fair amount of noise coming from the Heidelberg bench. That's a bit of a feature of Heidelberg. They'll certainly let the referee know that they're there. It can be quite an awkward team to play against.
Yeah, that can work in your favour sometimes when you're quite vocal. Just that little bit of nous, I suppose, can win you some 50-50 decisions. So certainly a tactic worth using. But also good to see some Heidelberg supporters up here. I was fortunate enough to meet a few before the game. Great bunch of lads. I don't think I've been kissed on the cheek that many times since I was about 5 years old, but hopefully they did find their way up to the bar if they let them in.
As I say, I don't think they needed to find their way back there, to be honest, but you're certainly making friends with the visiting supporters, and crowd is a little bit better than it was here on Saturday night. Of course, we had a fantastic crowd in the grand final, close to 2,500 here at the Lion Richlands, as Sean Carlos gets one on the back of the head, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable for the former Brisbane striker. And he's still walking around a little gingerly, and I think Martin Krinas is right to stop play here. A little bit of concern for Sean Carlos there. He was under a bit of an injury cloud heading into this game, I understand. We're having to wait to see how he pulled up after Saturday's match. Yeah,
that was a strong tackle there by Katanas. I'll go with that one, and I apologise to his mum and dad if I've got that one wrong, but he started quite lively. He's impressed me so far in the early stages of this game, and very strong tackle from him there.
A little bit of a discussion over on this near side about whether or not that was offside. Tom Cahill, the top goal scorer, continuing the conversation with the assistant referee on this near side. We mentioned that sometimes can get you for 50-50 decisions. Haranguing assistant referees doesn't often work, though, does it, Johnson?
No, that could work the other way and you find yourself in the book needlessly. But here he is again, challenging for this one.
Gets over the head of Matthias Imich, who watched it, but then gets a shove in the back, and that has to be a free kick. And Tom Cahill, will continue to appeal those decisions, but it shows that he is a handful, and he's going to be a handful for both the officiating team and the Lions' defence in this semi-final in the National Premier Leagues.
Yeah, he's a big boy and looks quite sharp as well, so usually that's what you say about Simic there at the back, so that'll be a good contest for them. But yeah, it certainly doesn't look like Cahill misses leg day at the gym. He's a big lad and looks nice and powerful.
And Simic was absent on Saturday in the quarter-final victory over Edgeworth. I'd say that Lions did miss him. It was a slow sort of game. It was a strange game, really, after the high of the grand final victory over Olympic here the week prior. It just felt that there was something missing, and whether it was the atmosphere, whether it was the desire from both teams after a long season to really get up for the game, but it really did feel like the morning after the night before.
That's right. I think the grand final here, great crowd with a lot of Olympic supporters coming out, and unfortunately for Olympic, second best to Lions again this season with a great strike there.
That's was that a really impressive effort from Jack Petrie, yes.
But yeah, certainly not at the same atmosphere as the grand final for that semi-final. But yeah, good night here for football, and a lot of people coming out on this Tuesday, which is great to see. And it would be good to see Heidelberg with their first set piece here.
Plenty of midweek football coming up, of course, in the FFA Cup tomorrow night. Avondale and Sydney, and Melbourne City against Western Sydney Wanderers. You'll be able to catch that on Fox Sports and the live stream. This ball is swung in. It's met at the near post, and it had to be dealt with by Luke Berean. Nice, intelligent little flick from what wasn't all that impressive corner. Both sides struggling with their radar in these early stages from the set pieces, but that could have worked out quite nicely for Heidelberg.
Yeah, nice little back heel from Zara there. Good thinking by him. He was well outside the near post there, so quite a difficult skill to get that on target, which he managed to do.
Former Melbourne Heart and Perth Glory man. It's a better corner, and Berean comes to claim that. A little bit too high for Ruben Way. The flag is up against Sean Ellis this time. And there's a little bit more discussion aimed at the assistant on this near side.
He's definitely offside, but the champion, Ruben Way there, going for the spectacular, but unfortunately a bit of Vaso on the laces and not to be for him tonight.
I have to thank John Fatinos, commentator on Heidelberg TV, for giving us all the information about the nicknames. There's some doozies in this Heidelberg setup. I'm hoping you'll be able to respond with some of the Lions players. Jonty, you of course started the season and unfortunately succumbed to injury shortly after the start of the season, but still amongst it and enjoyed the celebrations after a grand final. But we'll concentrate on this now with Sean Ellis breaking down this near side. That's a decent ball in towards Cahill. It's headed clear. Still there for Heidelberg though. Lions getting back in numbers. It's still aimed towards Cahill. That time it was Tommy Gerard who got the initial indication. Offside, I think, against... Was it a foul given against...
I think offside there from Adelaide. Just a bit lazy getting back in his own half there. But talk about Lions with their best defensive record. I also thought they had the most gingers in the National Premier Leagues. But I tell you what, I think Heidelberg might shade them on that one too. So hopefully that's not a sign of things to come tonight.
Does clash awfully with the orange. There's Cahill. That's impressive from Cahill on the deflection. That's a very, very good opportunity for Heidelberg in this early stages, and it is the visitors who are making all the running in the first 11 and a half minutes of this game.
Yeah, and a bit unfortunate there for the striker. It actually ricocheted off Harry Noon. Yeah, Borean was sort of scrambling for that one, but again, probably just not enough pace on that initial shot anyway. Just maybe rushing it, as sometimes happens at this level. But yeah, certainly creating a lot up there is old Cahill.
Madley holding the ball up well. Solzano coughing it up though, trying to squeeze it through towards Sean Carlos. Here's Jared. He's flying into tackles there. Danny Kim showing some composure to get that ball upfield. Free kick is given. It was Ruben Way who flew in. Player who scored so many goals in those early years of the National Premier League's Queensland. 20 in his first season with Redlands, 24 in his second with Olympic. He moved down to Heidelberg and has been there ever since. Has managed 5 goals this season for the Burgers. Mitch Hoare and Sean Carlos linking up. Kim goes back to Matthias Imich. Brindle South inside to Mitch Hoare. Nathan Shepherd with a deep ball towards Solozano, who made a bit too much of a run in order to get onto the end of that. He jumped, but not high enough. Those hamstrings perhaps straining.
Yeah, good work there from Shepherd. Nice cross from deep. Didn't need to go too much further towards the byline there. In a great area as well. Probably just didn't read it there, Solozano, but good shout out to Shep's parents out here from Scotland. So he's taking them around Brisbane, showing them the sights, but I think they're a little bit disappointed. They were coming out here to see a girlfriend, but haven't spotted one yet. So Nathan, Mum said, find yourself a girl.
Fine advice there from Jonty Richter. Nathan Shepherd, one of the young guns here in the Lions setup. He's mostly been played off the bench this season as Nathan Shepherd. Of course, Jason McQuarze, as we've already mentioned, is injured and is perhaps on paternity leave now from football. Or at least being told he's not allowed out of the house. I know I wasn't. He's come in and did very well in the grand final against Olympic. It was a good introduction. He was less effective in the quarter final as that ball's headed clear by Wilkins, and Heidelberg will look to break now. No players upfield, though. That's a lovely football by Adrian Zara. Over on that far side, but it'll be a Lions ball.
Yeah, Nathan Shepherd's done well when he's come in this year. Suffered early on from the old osteitis pubis, which is the bane of many a footballer. So, yeah, he's finally got himself fit at the pointy end of the season anyway, and I'm sure he'll look to cause Heidelberg some problems down this left-hand side.
Yeah, I didn't mean to pick out Nathan Shepherd, as no foul is given here for that challenge on Sean Ellis by Josh Brindle South. Mitch Hoare, he'll battle all day. Doesn't quite get to it though, and it'll be Heidelberg who break free. It was Petrie who managed to get there ahead of Mitch Hoare, and Solozano goes to deck once more. Lovely touch over there by Noon. Can't quite keep it under control though, and Lions will look to break now. Here comes Andy Thompson. Inside to Sean Carlos, and he's gone down injured there. That's not good news for Warren Moon and the Lions backroom staff. I did mention he was under a bit of an injury cloud, so that's a real worry for Lions in these early stages. Just 15 minutes gone. Again, it's that battle that we pointed out earlier on. Matthias Imich and the target man, Tom Cahill. But
silly foul there by Imich. Cahill's done well to battle against 3 Lions players there, and needless foul in the back there from Imich, which gives the Heidelberg a good opportunity here where Cahill had nowhere to go as Carlos finds himself on the deck. Looks like his night could be over. He did come in with a bit of an injury cloud, unfortunately, so let's hope maybe the magic spray can work some magic there for him, but yeah, it's not looking good for him at the moment.
There are options, of course, on the bench for Warren Moon. Chris Marr and Carter Glockner, of course, could both come in, and it would take a little bit of a reshuffle.
Yeah.
But no, his night is most certainly done. And that's disappointing.
You'd think Chrissy Marr will get the nod. I'm sure one of the SAP coaches up here at Lions, so he's got a legion of young fans that always come out to the game. Hear the old Chrissy Marr call go up, which he really enjoys. So hopefully we'll hear that tonight. But yeah, it looks like Chris is coming on, and hopefully his head's in the game. But unfortunately for Carlos, it's an early shower.
He's not one to shy away from a challenge, is Chrissy Marr. He does like to get involved, and got involved quite a lot in the grand final that we witnessed up here.
Yeah, he's a magnet for the old elbow to the face for some reason, old Chrissy Marr. So I'm sure he doesn't want any of that tonight, but straight in here and defend the set piece.
It's disappointing for Sean Carlos. He scored the go-ahead goal in the semi-final against Moreton Bay United up here in the National Premier League's Queensland. Danny Kim, the smallest player on the field, with the header.
I think Danny Kim would be offended when you say that, because Shepard's on the field, and unfortunately for Shep, he is the shortest one in the whole club.
Oh yeah, you're right. It might be a hair thing though.
Yes.
There's not much in it from this angle, Johnsy.
No,
it'll be a Heidelberg throw-in anyway. Josh Wilkins.
Looks like he's got a long one, as he does.
Really good ball into the mixer, and it was aimed towards Stephen Pace, and our understanding is that Stephen Pace is the barometer for this team, and if he's playing well, Heidelberg will play well, and he's had a pretty bright start.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's actually my age. I a long time ago played with Steve Pace down at the AIS when we were young whippersnappers trying to live the dream. So certainly been around a long time and a very experienced player for Heidelberg. Obviously A-League experience, NSL experience. So yeah, I can see why he could be the barometer for them. I'm sure they'll hope he continues that tonight.
Managed 8 games for Melbourne Victory in the 2007 and 2009 seasons of the Hyundai League. Juan Carlos Solozano tried to squeeze that ball through towards Marit Madley. It was well dealt with and well watched by the Heidelberg defence, and it's Ruben Way who's taking the ball upfield now. Continues his run and picks it up on the edge of the area. Nice footwork from Way. It's been squared up by Jared. It's forced back to Zara. Zara goes all the way back. And Carlos Solozano making a nuisance of himself, does really, really well there.
Yeah, he has done quite well in the defensive side of the game at the moment. So, but Heidelberg come out the back quite well. They've done a few nice breaks as they whip one in here. But yeah, just haven't created that opportunity at the moment. But certainly doing well on the break as Lions try the same.
Madley, Shepherd and Mitch Hall linking up well. That's a lovely ball from Mitch Hall right into the path of Nathan Shepherd. 1-0 Lions!
That's how you counter-attack. What a goal from Lions there. And unfortunately for the Burgers, just caught a little bit short at the back there. Great pass there from Mitch Hall through the middle. Nice little angled pass. Dare say Shepherd got quite lucky with that touch there, but in the end, a little ricochet off his own legs and slotted that one nicely.
It was the link-up play with Marit Madley back to goal, just heading the ball back into the path of... It was, in fact, Nathan Shepherd, and then it was the pass from Shepherd to Mitch Hall. And Mitch Hall's been my standout performer, probably for the last couple of seasons in the National Premier League Queensland. He is an absolutely exceptional player in the heart of the midfield for Lions this season and for Brisbane City the 2 seasons prior. Really important player for any side that he lines up for, and he really showed it there. That was a glorious pass.
Yeah, I think he got picked as the standout player for the NPL Queensland this year, so Perfect counter-attack football there. Bodies in motion at pace going forward, trying to get beyond defenders, and a nice little ball in behind there. But unfortunately, I think for the hyphenator in goal there, he probably went to ground a little bit early. It's always tough for a keeper in those situations, but I know from an attacking point of view, the longer that keeper stands up, the harder it is for you, and he sort of gave Shepherd the option of putting it in the corner. But 1-0 Lions, and game on.
Here is the goal scorer Shepherd, tries to play that ball through to the provider, Mitch Hoare, and Mitch Hoare chases down Stephen Pace, and then it is Theodoridis Petropoulos who launches that ball back upfield. Matthias Imich will take possession and be challenged eventually by Tom Cahill, and that was a good bit of pressure from Cahill. It just put Matthias Imich off. And
very uncharacteristic of Imich there. Maybe a couple too many wheat picks this morning, but yeah, you don't often see him just kick it out.
Good run from Wilkins. No foul given. It's letting plenty go, Martin Kreenis. An opportunity now for Marek Madley. A slip by Stephen Pace. And Madley bearing down on goal now. Madley took a touch from Theodoridis. And it will be a corner, but you'd like to think Marek Madley, and Marek Madley would certainly like to think that he should have done better in that occasion. Yeah,
I think so. A lot of chat for the Heidelberg players towards the referee at the moment. I think they feel they're getting the raw end of the stick from the official, which you could almost argue. But good counter there again. And as you said, Madley probably wishes he'd done better there. Quite a tame shot in there. And I'm not even sure it was on target, but the hyphenator couldn't really take any chances. I'm pretty sure Salazar at the back post had his arms flailing, saying, why didn't you cross it to me? But always the way, if it flew in the back of the net, he wouldn't have minded. But Tomo with his second corner. Hopefully we don't put the mocker on him this time. But please whip it in a nice crisp ball as he's done all season, Tomo.
Ruben Way gets a bit of a talking to from our referee, Martin Kreenis there. Corner comes in. It's an awkward one. It was well gathered by Theodoridis.
Yeah, I think he's happy to have that one in his arms. Nice, easy catch there. Not too many attackers flying in. But that was a better one from Tomo compared to his first one anyway. But obviously Ruben Way not happy with the officiating at the moment. But yeah, unfortunately they're never going to overturn their decision. So sometimes it's better to just get on with it.
Mitchell had to delay the pass, and that meant Marek Madley was offside, so Hoare keeps hold of it. Here's Josh Brindle South. Oh, sorry, it's Chris Marr who coughs up possession for Lions, and now it will be Heidelberg who counter-attack over on that far side, but it's a bit too far ahead of Andrew Katanos. 24-year-old, known as the Cat, down in Victoria, is unable to keep that possession, and Lions will build from the back once more.
Yeah, Chrissy Marr getting a nice early touch. I will give it to him. I don't think his shirt's been untucked all season, Chrissy Marr. Keeps those pants nice and high, but a bit of an old-school footballer in that sense. As he get another touch here.
Impeccably turned out, Chrissy Marr, as always. It's a decent ball towards Marek Madley. Madley squeezes a ball into the middle, and there's nobody there, and it trickles out of the 16-yard box, and Sean Ellis squeezes that ball through. Now Tom Cahill continuing his ongoing discussion with the assistant referee on this near side.
Yeah, not happy about that decision there. But Madley at the other end, great little cut back there. That's what you want from your striker in that situation. A lot of players at this level in particular try and fizz that one across the goal, which makes it quite easy for the goalkeeper. But Mitch Hoare unfortunately didn't quite get there. It's one of those, you think, oh, he should have been more advanced. But as he's done all season, he finds himself in and around those spots, and just unlucky not to get that one. But Cahill still arguing with the referee. He's not going to overturn it, mate. But, yeah, it was a tough call, and I think probably just the right one.
That was a little bit sloppy there from Stephen Pace, and we gave him a bit of a plug saying that he was the barometer for Heidelberg, and he's been caught it a little bit cold on a couple of occasions in the last 10 minutes or so, and that's starting to show us. Lions have started to regain the ascendancy since scoring the opening goal. It was Nathan Shepherd who got it in the 20th minute. Lovely bit of interplay between both he, Marek Madley, and the provider in Mitch Hoare. Juan Carlos Solazano picking that ball up from Danny Kim's effort. Madley back through to Chrissy Marr, and speeding out was Chris Theodoridis.
Nice little ball there from Madley, but yeah, just didn't quite have the pace there, Chrissy Marr. But for Heidelberg, I think they just a little bit of frustration creeping in at the moment. Obviously, some decisions not going their way. I think they just need to get it down and play the ball around, because they're quite a good passing side, especially down that left-hand side there with the Cat and the champ, the cat and the champ down the left-hand side.
Yeah, what a combination that is.
Certainly, they got some joy out there. So I think if they could get the ball down, get those guys on the ball in a bit of space, and they could get a few opportunities.
Spoke to Marek Madley a couple of times this season after his various goal-scoring exploits, both for Lions and Holland Park Hawks, as Mitch Hoare steals possession off Josh Wilkins. This could get a little bit untidy, and it's a free kick for the home side. It's taken quickly by Shepherd, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah, probably better off setting that one up there. But again, Heidelberg getting frustrated with that call. But Mitch Hoare is great at picking the pockets of defenders all season. So another great tackle from him there.
That's a great touch from Tom Cahill, has to be said, and he did really well to get over Matthias Imich. He's done incredibly well there and gets past Danny Kim as well. And here is Tom Cahill. Simic gets back, and it's still a decent shot, but bobbles just past the upright. Luke Berean will be pleased to see that one go off target, but that's exceptional work from Tom Cahill. He's managed to channel a little bit of that aggression that he was directing towards the officials, and is now starting to put it to good use up front.
That's right. A bit of hands on hips there. Maybe he's taken a bit of a knock, but he's certainly sucking in the big ones. But good desire from the big man. Just not quite connecting with his shots at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see someone use their aggression in that kind of way to try and get something for their side. Unfortunately, we saw some unsavoury incidents in the grand final up here where players using the aggression in the wrong way. Probably should have seen a few red cards, but no, I think Cahill certainly looking lively up there for Heidelberg.
Madley gave chase there, but it was really, really well dealt with. But Danny Kim manages to cut that out, and now Josh Brindle South tracking back manages to keep it in. That's good football from Lions, good perseverance, and despite a really good interception from Josh Wilkins, still not quite happening for Heidelberg in the attacking third so far.
And Lions doing quite well playing out as well. Danny Kim always finds himself in between the lines, as the coaches like to call it, where no one really getting tight on him, and he's able to dictate the play for Lions.
Thompson, now Mitch Hoare. Tries to squeeze it through to Madley. Madley with a touch, but it's really, really well watched by the Heidelberg defence, and they'll break through now with Tom Cahill. Cahill back to Sean Ellis. And it's launched back upfield by Wilkins. Harry Noon back to goal. Does well, Noon, holding the ball up. Danny Kim gets a foot in. That's a really good tackle from Danny Kim. He's been another player that's been exceptional for Lions all season in that midfield role. It has to be said that Nathan Shepherd did get a little bit of a late one there from Jack Petrie.
Yeah, Danny Kim and obviously Mitch Hoare being the standout midfielders in the competition up here anyway. And just picking the pockets of the attackers, as we saw there, as they've done so well all season. But another 50-50 call going the way of Lions. So again, something for Heidelberg to not be happy with there. They're certainly not getting the rub of the green at this stage. But yeah, they're only 1-0 down, so not too much to write home about just yet.
Poor free kick by Simic, and that allows Heidelberg to nip back in. But that's excellent work from Mitch Hoare again. And can he spring the trap once more? Madley wears one on the ankle. He hobbles away from it, but Kotanos can't pick up possession, but he does room the ball back brilliantly and wins the free kick off the foul of Tommy Jarrod.
Yeah, he's got some great feet, the young fella there. And as we said, Heidelberg just need to get him on the ball a bit more out wide there. He's coming in trying to help the side out, but it's just congesting that midfielder even further. So, yeah, I think you know, without putting words in their coach's head, I don't know their tactics, but for me, if he stays out wide, a little bit wider anyway, and gets that ball to feet and starts running at players, he's going to cause all sorts of havoc. They've got Cahill in the middle there, who's really great at holding the ball up, so I think it's worthwhile getting around him, but as I said, get Katanis out wide on the ball, and he certainly can do some damage.
Stephen Pace has gone up there. It's towards Stephen Pace, and it's come off the head of Andy Thompson. Yes, it is a corner, and another good opportunity for Heidelberg now to hit back.
Yeah, well, it certainly looks like they're aiming all their set plays there at Stephen Pace and that shiny dome, that's for sure. He's finding the ball every time too, so Jack Petrie with some nice balls in, but not quite coming off for Stephen Pace at the moment.
Pace was nudged off that ball there by Tommy Jarrod. It's headed only half clear, put back into the mixer by Luke Biles. It's a good header by Matthias Imich, who stays down Heidelberg moving the ball around well around the edge of the area. 50-50 ball. Ruben Way picks it up, tries for a shot, but it's hit off the back of Chris Marr and almost plays through Nathan Shepherd, and that would have been another excellent counter-attack, and Heidelberg were short on numbers at the back, just Josh Wilkins back there.
Yeah, I think Shep looked up and saw the size of old Biles flying through there and thought, I'll let him have that one, but you don't mind that from Biles there. Put it into row 74. No point taking any risks there. There's last man at the back. But again, Lions, good chance to counter there. So something that Heidelberg really got to watch, those attackers from Lions streaming through, and they're really not following them. So that's a positive for Lions.
Spoke to Theo Pellizzeri yesterday about the way Heidelberg have played this year, and they're not a team that's blessed with pace, as Madley goes to deck and is helped up eventually by Luke Biles. Another good battle will be going on there. He does enjoy those contests, doesn't he, Madley? Who has scored an absolutely remarkable 42 goals in all competitions this season. 18 goals in 14 games as the flag goes up on this near side on Harry Noon. Yeah, 18 goals in 14 games in the National Premier League's Queensland for Lions. And that was after a mid-season move in which he scored 23 goals in the Football Queensland Premier League. That's the third tier of football in the country, second tier here in Queensland. 27-year-old Czech-born striker also scored the winner in the grand final, which you predicted, I have to say, Jonty, though you got the timing wrong by a couple of minutes.
No, he certainly can find a goal. Good lad as well, loves a coffee and a chat. You don't even have to ask him.
As long as he's buying, that's not a problem.
Yeah, well, that's it. But yeah, certainly can find a goal. So he doesn't need too many opportunities, and I'm sure Lions hope he gets one tonight.
He's, of course, scored the only goal in the quarter-final victory over Edgeworth in the 4th minute, and that really killed the game as a contest. It turned into a little bit of a kickabout. Strange atmosphere, we already mentioned it over the course of this broadcast, and it was an early goal here for Lions in the 20th minute. Nathan Shepherd scoring it, and that puts the Queensland Premiers in control against the Premiers from Victoria. The reigning champions of the National Premier Leagues, just too far ahead of Shepherd. That ball from the effervescent Mitch Hoare.
Heidelberg sitting quite deep here. I think that might contribute to the tiredness of their legs a little bit, but certainly find themselves pinned back in their own half, which is making it tough for them. I mean, again, maybe they're not the side that presses all the time, but they're certainly sitting off at the moment and letting Lions dictate the play a little bit.
Well, they're having to sit back just to deal with the lightning counterattacks that Lions are able to put together and have shown in the last few minutes, 33 minutes into this first half here at Lions Stadium, the western suburbs of Brisbane.
Yeah, and Lions certainly has one of the fittest midfielders going around in Mitch Hoare and Danny Kim, and now Chrissy Marr in there as well. As we said, Mitch Hoare doesn't have the biggest legs you've ever seen, but they certainly go all day, those little toothpicks.
No muscles to create lactic acid, I'd imagine, because he does run all night. He's really made a habit of that over the course of his National Premier League's career. He was a member of the Raw Youth setup for a few years, Mitch Hoare.
Yeah, and Jack Petrie marketing him at the moment. I'm sure Jack doesn't want to do that amount of running, trying to track him. Heidelberg need him on the ball, creating things, but at the moment, every time he gets a breather, it's when Heidelberg have the ball.
Yeah, it just puts more miles into the legs that had to deal with a extra time victory on Friday, or a penalties victory. I keep saying extra time victory. They did win after extra time, Heidelberg, in their semi-final down in Victoria. That was against Oakley Cannons, and they were the better team. I watched some film of that game today, and they certainly were the better team, but were being frustrated by Oakley, and it seems like they're being a little bit frustrated here, Heidelberg, by the Queensland double winners. But that's not to take anything away from the way Lions have played, although that's some nice footwork over on that far side. Just doesn't quite come off for Heidelberg, and Lions are worth their 1-0 lead with just 10 minutes to go in this first half.
Yeah, Katanas, as was mentioned already, I mean, every time he seems to touch a ball, looks to be creating something. So, yeah, certainly needs to get on the ball as much as possible, but Lions doing it well at the same time to not offer him much space, and it's really frustrating him.
Shepherd just doesn't quite take the ball with him, and that allows Petrie to come away with it. Heidelberg looking to build something on the edge of the Lions penalty area now. Both Noon and Sean Ellis in the penalty area. Tom Cahill there as well, but ball won't get to them. It'll be a goal kick for Lions, and more good defence from the Lions side that, as we already mentioned, have only conceded 11 goals in their 26 National Premier League Queensland games this season. Just a remarkable achievement for the Lions defence, and it was a fairly well settled defence. Thompson, Imich, Jared and Josh Brindle-South, former Wellington player. It's just been remarkable to watch the way Lions have played, and quite often we've seen games in which Lions have taken the lead and you just know that the other team won't score, and it's just come down to that. 17 clean sheets, 65% of their games in the league have resulted in the other team not scoring. It's just an incredible record. And
obviously it contributed to them, well, going for the treble. So yeah, they certainly make it tough for opposition sides to score a goal, as we said. So Heidelberg, if they get an opportunity, really need to take it, as Ruben Way finally gets a free kick there, which I'm sure he was very happy about. But yeah, they fast at the back and strong at the back lines, where Cahill's is a bit of a match for them, but he's a lone wolf up there at the moment. So Noon maybe needs to help him out a little bit there, because it's certainly going to be tough for him to take on the centre pairing of Imich and Gerard by himself.
Heidelberg playing the ball around out the back now. It's aimed towards Cahill. Imich dealt with it this time. Wilkins has a chase, gets there and plays the ball back to Stephen Pace, who coughs up possession. Marek Madley just making a nuisance of himself. Chris Marr asking a lot of Marek Madley there. Madley stopped. Had he kept going, he'd have been able to keep that in. That's a little bit disappointing from Madley.
Yeah, I think he'd given that one up, but not a bad result. Heidelberg with the throw in quite deep in their half as they walk across there. I think a bit tired legs. They need to get into half time and get some of the electrolytes in, but they're certainly not forcing the pace at the moment, the Burgers.
One of the key factors of Heidelberg's season is their insatiable appetite for victory. They don't know when they're beaten. That's what I've been told by Theo Pezzarelli, as Cahill just puts Tommy Jarrett under a lot of pressure there. Jarrett does well in the end, but Cahill is a real handful, and he's going to be a real threat. You say he's a lone wolf, but lone wolves can still bite and can still cause problems up front there. And Lions will need to be careful in those balls being aimed forward, and
yeah, he
don't
certainly
want to get
is
isolated.
Yeah, he certainly is fighting up there for everything, which you want from your big man. He certainly holds it up really well for the Burgers, but they just need those midfielders flying through. I think Zara as well, been quite quiet this first half. He's got a lot of experience at high levels as well, as Borean makes a mistake here. But yeah, haven't seen too much from him on the ball tonight, so I think he could certainly benefit from making a few forward runs from midfield there.
Well, that was good work from Zara off the ball to create that pressure and force the mistake from Lions, and an opportunity now for Josh Wilkins to launch this ball into the heart of the Lions penalty area. Danny Kim again with the header.
And that other man there, Mitch Hall, cleaning up again, as they do so well.
Madley giving chase for two number 17s. Madley's not giving up on this one, and he's going to continue to chase. It's Luke Biles, plays the ball out wide. Heidelberg shifting the play, that's an error. Over on that far side by Way. You won't be able to blame the pitch, because it is immaculate, this surface.
I mean, he's got a great left foot, but I think that's not a bad ball in there, but no one flying through for Heidelberg. Ruben's got a great left foot, but sometimes to his own detriment, where all he wants to be on his left foot. And it makes him very predictable. I mean, he's got pace, probably not as much as he had a few years ago up here in the Queensland leagues, but yeah, it's one of those where when he gets it right on his left foot, there's not too many players better, but at the same time, sometimes you've got to mix it up, and as bad as your right peg is at this level, you should be able to use it.
Solorzano winning the knockdown there, flicked in by Marr. It's Mitch Hoare, Solorzano just can't squeeze it back to Mitch Hoare, and it's another good piece of play over on that far side from Lions, and Mitch Hoare, the heart of it once more. Very impressive player. His brother Henry in the Perth Glory setup. In fact, Mitch moved over to Lions from Brisbane City to be with his brother, and then his brother promptly left. I'm not sure what that says about Mitch.
Yeah, well, there's always the argument of who is the better whore here at Lions, but certainly at the moment it's Mitch.
He's been very impressive this season. Here's Wilkins looking to inject some pace and does so brilliantly. That's a lovely little ball inside. Ask a lot of questions of Josh Brindle-South, and Josh Brindle-South didn't have the answer there.
Yeah, great cover defence there by Shepherd, I think, and nice run there by Wilkins. That's what you want. Fullbacks overlapping or wingers, you've got to get in the box. If there's enough space there, if you can drag your defender in there, it really causes them to make a decision. But if you just sort of float out wide outside the box, it's a bit easier for them. They're a bit more comfortable if they need to foul you. If you can get in the box like that, causes them all sorts of problems.
Adelaide just tried a little bit of guile there on captain Luke Biles, and Biles was well alert to it and able to snuff out the danger. It's a disappointing ending to that one, though. Matthias Imich, his opposite captain on the evening. Well, that's a really poor ball from Simic, and he just shrugs his shoulders towards the bench where Warren Moon is making gestures that indicate that he's not particularly happy with his captain with that ball.
Well, they might have been talking Croatian, where they're Warren Moon married to a strong Croatian woman, Renata, but Simic as well there. So I think just those aimless hoofs away, just a little bit frustrated there, where normally he'd bring that down and find one of his midfield bandits there, but maybe just a bit of tired legs as well from Simic.
Yeah, we mentioned that Heidelberg have played a lot of football over the last 50 days or so, 10 games in 48 days it has been, including matches in the FFA Cup and of course this National Premier League's finals series, the National Premier League's Victoria finals series as well. And that is of course why this game is being played on a Tuesday, because the big dance down in Victoria is taking place this weekend on Sunday at Amy Park. So if you're in Melbourne or Victoria and you like your football, get down and support the National Premier League's Victoria. Should be a fantastic occasion. Yeah, Heidelberg against Avondale.
Always a tough one for the players as well. You've got one eye on that as well as this one. But
well, it was the disappointment from last year of Heidelberg missing out to their arch rivals, Bentley Greens. And all of that frustrated them, and they spoke about that frustration before winning the 2017 National Premier League's Grand Final at Perry Park, as Mitch Hoare again winning possession and then Shepherd giving it away. It was a really good tackle, in all honesty, but here's an opportunity now.
This is what we're talking about, where he needs to just attack the box now, get in there and have a dig, son.
Katanos looking for options, instead goes himself and gives the netting behind the goal a bit of a workout, but it's the wrong netting from Heidelberg's perspective.
Yeah, Shepherd with a poor error up the other end there. Could have found two players and really needed to, but turnover, and Katanos finally in some space, sort of did what we need to see from him. Did try and get in the box. Probably the wrong option in the end with a number of bodies across the middle. But, man, if he gets that ball in space, he can really cause damage. And that was a great opportunity for him there, but probably a poor decision.
Seemed to not go quite full gas on the run. And that, in part, I guess, was due to the Lions' defence covering pretty well for counter-attack. But you just felt that if that was a little bit of a pacier effort, as Shepherd tries to get onto the end of this one. It's a really good covering block by Josh Wilkins. Another good ball in from Lions, and causing all sorts of problems for the Heidelberg defence at the moment. Yeah,
Heidelberg don't want to concede a late one here. But yeah, as we said there with Katanos, I mean, it's easy to say it from up here. We haven't been running around for 45 minutes, but yeah, you just got to really have that desire to get in that box and drill one across the face. And again, it's easy to say and it sounds so simple, but sometimes when you're out there, if you follow those percentages, go for the far post, get in the box as a winger, you're going to get rewards. And unfortunately there, he went for the very low percentage of near post. And as we know, Borean being an outstanding keeper this year, I don't think you're going to beat him at that near post. And I'm certain the couple of Cahill and Noon flying in there, making that effort to get in there, a bit disappointed that ball didn't flash across the face of goal.
Here is Cahill. That's really good defence from Jared, just holding up Cahill. He's a player who likes playing with his back to goal. Classic target man in that respect, but that's been well snuffed out at the moment by the Lions centre-backs, either Jared or Simic. And now an opportunity for Lions to perhaps have one more attacking platform as we enter the 1 minute of additional time at the end of this first half. Be a throw-in on that far side. And the goal just before the break will be very, very important and could be very welcomed by Warren Moon and Lions.
Good battle down that side there too between Salazano and Ruben Way, really pushing each other. Ruben doing very well, as we said, another physical boy as Heidelberg look to counter here.
Cahill gets the better of Jared that time, but Danny Kim was back in coverage. Nice football. Here's Petrie. Petrie getting mugged by Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare is tenacious. He'll keep battling and wins that ball, Madley, but it's a late whistle from Martin Kreenis. Free kick for Heidelberg, and one opportunity now to get the ball right into a dangerous area, and you think that Heidelberg will set something up here and just try and make one last effort to get a goal, equalising goal.
Get Stephen Pace up there again and get it in the mixer, but rightly so, free kick to Heidelberg, but I think it, in some ways too, it almost created that scenario for himself. They're hanging on to the ball and the Terrier in Hoare. Look for Stephen Pace here, but yeah, again, if you take touches there, half-time, Mitch Hoare's going to be on you, so you really got to move that ball quickly there, Jack Petrie.
Mitch Hoare is like one of those flies when you're on at a picnic. He just won't leave you alone. It must be very annoying as a midfielder against him. But he's such a vital attribute. Perhaps a fly is the wrong word. But he just buzzes around and he just gets in people's way. And then when he wins the ball, as we saw with the goal, he can launch counter-attacks with delightful passes in behind.
Exactly right. And he's probably been the difference here as we go in for half-time. We're 1-0 Lions, as you said. A great steal in the midfield there and flying through. Great little ball in behind and 1-0 Lions. But again, there's positives for both sides. I'm sure the coaches can't wait to get them in the sheds and have their chat and hopefully get some of those tactics to sink into the players' heads. But yeah, both sides I think are a little bit tired there towards the end of that half. Lions, I'm sure, happy to be 1-0 up, but 1-0, anything can happen. Obviously, the next goal is crucial for both sides.
Well, it is 1-0 here at the Lion Richlands, and Lions are leading the reigning National Premier League champions Heidelberg United by a goal to nil. Nathan Shepherd in the 20th minute with it. Plenty still to play for, though. Heidelberg don't give up easily. You dare say that they will be fighting in this next 45. We won't be going anywhere, so make sure that you get yourselves a nice cold or warm drink, depending on your preference, and we'll see you here back at the Lion Richlands for the second half in the National Premier League's semi-final. Impressive from Cahill on the deflection. Middle South, inside to Mitch Hoare. Nathan Shepherd with a deep ball towards Solozano, who made a bit too much of a run.
Certainly doing well on the break as Lions try the same.
Matthias Shepherd and Mitch Hoare linking up well. That's a lovely ball from Mitch Hoare right into the path of Nathan Shepherd. 1-0 Lions!
That's how you counter-attack. What a goal from Lions there. And unfortunately for the Burgers, just caught a little bit short at the back there. Great pass there from Mitch Hoare through the middle. Nice little angled pass. Dare say Shepherd got quite lucky with that touch.
Even pace, and Madley bearing down on goal now. Madley took a touch from Theodoridis. Out Chrissy Marr as always. It's a decent ball towards Madley. Madley squeezes a ball into the middle and there's nobody there and it trickles out of the 16. He did really well to get over Matthias Imich. He's done incredibly well there and gets past Danny Kim as well. And here is Tom Cahill. Simic gets back and it's still a decent shot, but bobbles.
Tied on him and he's able to dictate the play for Lions.
Thompson, now Mitch Hoare. Tries to squeeze it through to Madley. Madley with a touch, but it's really, really well watched by the Heidelberg defence and they'll break through now with Tom Cahill. It's headed only half clear, put back into the mixer by Luke Biles. It's a good header by Matthias Imich, who stays down.
What we're talking about, where he needs to just attack the box now, get in there and have a dig, son.
Katanos looking for options, instead goes himself and gives the netting behind the goal a bit of a workout, but that's for attack. But you just felt that if that was a little bit of a pacier effort, as Shepherd tries to get onto the end of this one, it's a really good covering block by Josh Wilkins. Another good.
Unfortunately for Olympic, second best to Lions again this season with a great strike there.
That's was that a really impressive effort
Jack
from
Petrie.
Jack Petrie, yes.
But yeah, certainly not at the same atmosphere as the grand final for that semi-final. But yeah, good night here for football and a lot of people coming out on this Tuesday, which is great to see. And it would be good to see Heidelberg with their first set piece here.
City against Western Sydney Wanderers. You'll be able to catch that on Fox Sports and the live stream. This ball is swung in. It's met at the near post and it had to be dealt with by Luke Berean.
To do.
Former Melbourne Heart and Perth Glory man. It's a better corner and Berean comes to claim that. A little bit too high for Ruben Way. The flag is up against the celebrations after a grand final, but we'll concentrate on this now with Sean Ellis. Breaking down this near side. That's a decent ball in towards Cahill.
I think Heidelberg might shade them on that one too, so hopefully that's not a sign of things to come tonight.
Does clash awfully with the orange. There's Cahill. That's impressive from Cahill on the deflection. Middle South, inside to Mitch Hoare. Nathan Shepherd with a deep ball towards Solozano, who made a bit too much of a run.
Certainly doing well on the break as Lions try the same.
Matthias Shepherd and Mitch Hoare linking up well. That's a lovely ball from Mitch Hoare right into the path of Nathan Shepherd. 1-0 Lions!
That's how you counter-attack. What a goal from Lions there. And unfortunately for the Burgers, just caught a little bit short at the back there. Great pass there from Mitch Hoare through the middle. Nice little angled pass. Dare say Shepherd got quite lucky with that touch.
Even pace, and Madley bearing down on goal now. Madley took a touch from Theodoridis. Out Chrissy Marr as always. It's a decent ball towards Madley. Madley squeezes a ball into the middle and there's nobody there and it trickles out of the 16. He did really well to get over Matthias Imich. He's done incredibly well there and gets past Danny Kim as well. And here is Tom Cahill. Simic gets back and it's still a decent shot, but bobbles.
Tied on him and he's able to dictate the play for Lions.
Thompson, now Mitch Hoare. Tries to squeeze it through to Madley. Madley with a touch, but it's really, really well watched by the Heidelberg defence and they'll break through now with Tom Cahill. It's headed only half clear, put back into the mixer by Luke Biles. It's a good header by Matthias Imich, who stays down.
What we're talking about, where he needs to just attack the box now, get in there and have a dig, son.
Katanos looking for options, instead goes himself and gives the netting behind the goal a bit of a workout, but that's for attack. But you just felt that if that was a little bit of a pacier effort, as Shepherd tries to get onto the end of this one, it's a really good covering block by Josh Wilkins. Another good.
Unfortunately for Olympic, second best to Lions again this season with a great strike there.
That's was that a really impressive effort from
Petrie?
Jack Petrie, yes.
But yeah, certainly not at the same atmosphere as the grand final for that semi-final. But yeah, good night here for football, and a lot of people coming out on this Tuesday, which is great to see. It would be good to see Heidelberg with their first set piece here.
City against Western Sydney Wanderers. You'll be able to catch that on Fox Sports and the live stream. This ball is swung in. It's met at the near post, and it had to be dealt with by Luke Berean.
To do.
Former Melbourne Heart and Perth Glory man. That's a better corner, and Berean comes to claim that. A little bit too high for Ruben Way. The flag is up against the celebrations after a grand final, but we'll concentrate on this now with Sean Ellis. Breaking down this near side. That's a decent ball in towards Cahill.
I think Heidelberg might shade them on that one too, so hopefully that's not a sign of things to come tonight.
Does clash awfully with the orange. There's Cahill. That's impressive from Cahill on the deflection. Middle south, inside to Mitch Hoare. Nathan Shepherd with a deep ball towards Solorzano, who made a bit too much of a run.
Certainly doing well on the break as Lions try the same.
Matthias Shepherd and Mitch Hoare linking up well. That's a lovely ball from Mitch Hoare right into the path of Nathan Shepherd. 1-0 Lions!
That's how you counter-attack. What a goal from Lions there. And unfortunately for the Burgers, just caught a little bit short at the back there. Great pass there from Mitch Hoare through the middle. Nice little angled pass. Dare say Shepherd got quite lucky with that touch.
Even pace. And Madley bearing down on goal now. Madley took a touch from Theodoridis. Out Chrissy Marr as always. It's a decent ball towards Madley. Madley squeezes a ball into the middle, and there's nobody there, and it trickles out of the 16. He did really well to get over Matthias Imich. He's done incredibly well there and gets past Danny Kim as well. And here is Tom Cahill. Simic gets back, and it's still a decent shot, but bobbles.
Tied on him, and he's able to dictate the play for Lions.
Thompson, now Mitch Hoare. Tries to squeeze it through to Madley. Madley with a touch, but it's really, really well watched by the Heidelberg defence, and they'll break through now with Tom Cahill. It's headed only half clear, put back into the mixer by Luke Biles. It's a good header by Matthias Imich, who stays down.
What we're talking about, where he needs to just attack the box now, get in there and have a dig, son.
Katanos looking for options, instead goes himself and gives the netting behind the goal a bit of a workout, but for attack. But you just felt that if that was a little bit of a pacier effort, as Shepherd tries to get onto the end of this one, it's a really good covering block by Josh Wilkins. Another good.
Unfortunately for Olympic, second best to Lions again this season with a great strike there.
That's was that a really impressive effort
Jack
from
Petrie?
Jack Petrie, yes.
But yeah, certainly not at the same atmosphere as the grand final for that semi-final. But yeah, good night here for football, and a lot of people coming out on this Tuesday, which is great to see. It would be good to see Heidelberg with their first set piece here.
City against Western Sydney Wanderers. You'll be able to catch that on Fox Sports and the live stream. This ball is swung in. It's met at the near post, and it had to be dealt with by Luke Berean.
To do.
Former Melbourne Heart and Perth Glory man. That's a better corner, and Berean comes to claim that. A little bit too high for Ruben Way. The flag is up against the celebrations after a grand final, but we'll concentrate on this now with Sean Ellis. Breaking down this near side. That's a decent ball in towards Cahill. Welcome back to South East Queensland, where the Queensland Premiers Lions are leading the Victorian Premiers Heidelberg by 1-0 in the National Premier League semi-final. Jonty Richter is alongside me, and I'll just run you through how it works in terms of whether you're going to host the next semi-final or not. So it's 3 points if you win inside the 90 minutes, and it's on a point system. The winner with the most points gets to host the grand final. 3 points if you win inside the 90, 2 if you win after extra time, 1 on penalties. You get 3 points per goal for the home team, 4 points per goal for the away team, and you lose a point if you concede a goal, get a yellow card, and 3 points if you concede a red card. So as things stand at the moment, Lions had 5 points from the quarter-final victory over Edgeworth, the 1-goal win in normal time, and a yellow card to Sean Carlos, who has gone off injured in this game. And then they're currently on 6 points. So Lions at the moment have 11. Now Campbeltown and Sydney are in the other semi-final. They have 14 and 4 points respectively. So Heidelberg, it should be mentioned, at the moment had 10 points from their quarter-final, their 3-2 victory over Devonport Strikers down in Tasmania. But they are currently, of course, -1, and then may indeed lose this game as well, so it becomes immaterial. But that's where things stand, Jonty. So amongst a myriad of other factors, Lions, if they want to host a grand final, should probably score another couple of goals.
Yeah, that's right. It does make it a bit tricky, and I'll leave it to the mathematicians and other experts out there like Cameron Hanley to work that one out for us. But no doubt, I'm sure the object is score as many goals as you can to give yourself a good opportunity. I'm pretty sure Campbeltown, as you said, they're front runners at the moment, but that at the end of the day, you've got to win the match to give yourself any chances hosting the grand final. So that's certainly the objective for both sides here.
And I'm sure you've been in situations before in your career, Jonty, where you know players have perhaps started to think about goal difference and started to think about connotations of things, and that's a dangerous mindset to get into, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, unless you're like 3-0 up and then you think, well, let's just go for it. But right now, both sides certainly still in this match as a bit of a tricky one here.
And that's a difficult one. Theodoridis did claim it. Madley is still on the deck, and that might be a head injury, is it not?
Yeah, good decision by the referee to stop it there. But the old cardinal sin for any centre-back is letting the ball bounce as he's done there. I'm sure he thought the hyphenator was a good chance for that anyway, but certainly made it difficult for his keeper there. And keeper's done well to punch that one. Unfortunately, Madley doing well to challenge there, but he's copped one right on the schnoz. And I'm sure he'll be okay as the referee helps him up here. Doesn't even need the magic spray. But yeah, good decision there by the referee just to hold that one there. Always a bit of a concern if anyone's holding their head.
You've got to have that safety first attitude in these situations, and it was a good decision from referee Martin Krinas to make that call. And Chris Theodoridis Petropoulos, he's not the tallest of goalkeepers, but that was actually, he came up and jumped pretty well. And I'm going to get you to say Theodoridis at some point.
I'll attempt it at some stage. I'll just to his Yaya and his Popper out there. I don't want to embarrass myself and having a crack, so I'll see how I go later on. But we'll stick with the hyphenator for now. But so far, he hasn't been tested too much, and obviously conceding the one goal. But apart from that, hasn't had too much to do. The big man, it would be interesting to see if they get a penalty tonight, Heidelberg, because I think you alluded to it earlier that he is their penalty taker. So
scored 4 goals this season in the National Premier League's Victoria. Chris Theodoridis, who likes to be known as Mr. February as well. I'll leave him to explain the reasons for that. It's a decent ball up now for Harry Noon. Noon battling against Matthias Imich. Imich is going to be forced to play this rather than concede a corner, and does get that ball up towards Nathan Shepherd, and he links up with Mitch Hoare. And that is a free kick in favour of Lions over on that far side of the field.
Another one there. All the arms went up on the Heidelberg bench. Again, they're not happy with that 50-50, but yeah, a bit of a silly one there. I don't think Shepherd had too much room to move there and didn't really need to make a challenge, but nonetheless, free kick to Lions, and I'm sure Lions won't need this pace to be at a high tempo, so they'll happily take a lot of small free kicks here and there. I think Heidelberg just, don't let that frustration get to them this half. As we said, they just need to play that ball around, and Stephen Paceman's a nice header there. And
very solid collision there, wasn't it?
Yeah, worked their way back into this match.
Here's Chris Marr. It's going to fall nicely for Chris Marr. Doesn't take the shot when he had the option. He's forced back on himself now. Here's Mitch Hoare. Goes back to Liam Cosgrove, who's come on at half-time in place of Danny Kim.
Yeah, big loss there for Lions. So Danny Kim, we understand, was just been a bit under the weather this week, so suffering a bit there and struggling to breathe. But young Liam Cosgrove getting his opportunity here. Young lad from Churchy. I think he's just been on a bit of a midweek break with the lads. Saw him up north on the yacht, having a few quiet ones. Probably would have kept the shirt on myself after seeing that frame. But anyway, nonetheless, hopefully he had a good time up there.
Plenty of time to bulk up yet for young Liam Cosgrove. That ball swung in. It bounces again. A handball, I think, on Matthias Imich.
Yeah,
it's a good spot by the referee.
Gerard there, flying through, didn't quite make a connection. But, yeah, Simic certainly not expecting that one where you really got to be on your toes and expect everything. But, yeah, just surprised him a little bit there and handball the result. Would have been a great opportunity for him, but nonetheless, free kick.
Danny Kim, the son of Kim Hwan-hun, who's the youngest ever South Korean international at 17 years of age, apologies. Made 51 appearances, including the 1994 World Cup. That's my favourite stat about Danny Kim, so I dig it out every time Lions play. But, of course, it's prevalent because the Socceroos are returning to Brisbane and they'll be playing at Suncorp Stadium on the 17th of November. Tickets are available for that, so make sure you get online and get yourselves some tickets to see the Socceroos in action in Brisbane for the first time since the Asian Cup all those years ago. It's a good opportunity for football fans in Queensland, and, of course, plenty of football to come over the course of the next few months around the country. The A-League kicking off on the 19th to the 21st of October. Real main match there, of course, being the Melbourne Derby to kick things off. So I'm sure all the Victorians streaming this match tonight on the nationalpremierleagues.com.au will enjoy that if they're so inclined, either Melbourne City or Melbourne Victory. And the W League gets started the following week, and all those games will be available to watch live either via the stream or on Fox Sports. So fantastic opportunity for women's football in this country, and no decision again going against Heidelberg, but I think that looked like a good call. It did look like the ball was got by Tommy Jarrod there.
Yeah, he's a strong boy, Tommy Jarrod, and quite quick as well, so a match there from Ruben Way. But
lovely ball inside by Katanos, but it was Tom Cahill. Easy to say Tim, isn't it? Freudian slip there. And he did not able to get onto the end of it, and it'll be a Lions ball on this near side.
But again there, Ruben found himself in a good position, chopped it back on his right, and just again not having the confidence to whip it on his right, try to go back on his left. And yeah, a bit of a shoulder-to-shoulder there, and decision going the way of the Lions again, which I'm sure to the bane of all the Heidelberg supporters out there, just not quite getting the rub of the green on those close ones.
Plenty of them watching at the Catalina Street HQ of Heidelberg. That's a strong tackle by Luke Biles on Mitch Hoare. Hoare does get to his feet rather gingerly, but does trot away from the scene of the crime. It was a good tackle, managed to get the ball and everything associated with it. Lovely ball on the edge for Nathan Shepherd, but he delayed his shot and really caught in 2 or 3 minds there, Nathan Shepherd, and the chance goes begging for Lions.
Yeah, good run there by...
Here's a chase now, though, by Harry Noon. Yeah, Luke Breen comes out well, but he only gets it clear as far as Sean Ellis. Breen's off his line and not even paying attention to where Sean Ellis was, so fairly confident that Ellis wasn't going to try the spectacular, and we have seen some spectacular goals in the National Premier League Queensland this year. With your old sparring partners. Greg King scoring from inside his own half at Perry Park for Brisbane City against strikers earlier in the season.
But, yeah, good run there by Brindle South. Again, Shepherd probably, if he had his time over again, would have pulled the trigger first time, I think. But, again, Heidelberg get away with it there. And Katanos now with a nice little run, but a lot of traffic, a lot of Lions bodies there. They're doing really well to snuff him out at the moment. And I think, as we said, he just needs to get the ball at feet and get wide and get outside his man and whip across him.
Couldn't squeeze it through to Noon, and then the ball was won back by Petrie. Here's Cahill. That's a really good tackle by... That's the new boy, isn't it? Liam Cosgrove. He's done well since coming on, albeit only 7 minutes into his appearance this evening. The Lions are leading this one by a 1-0, and they are worth their lead so far. But Heidelberg will not give up on Carlos Solorzano. There was a hand involved, and I don't think he knew much about it, but it's one of those ones that you do end up giving as a referee, I think.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there for him. Just sort of went up and came down on him. Heidelberg, again, not happy with the referee. Tried to take a quick free kick, but referee doing the old token, chatting to 2 players about slapping each other with their handbags. But, yeah, I don't like to see those ones. Just get the game going again, referee. And, yeah, no, needless chatting. Doesn't really do anything, I think. The players don't really listen.
Speaking from experience there, Jonty.
Yes.
Never knew you had such a problem with authority.
As footballers, we're always right, of course.
Of course. There's several different versions of the truth. Good ball inside from Madley towards Shepherd, but it was covered well by Wilkins. Shepherd just can't quite get on the end of that, and Wilkins puts a ball right up into the middle of the park and does incredibly well. And here's an opportunity now for Harry Noon to break free. Here's Katanos. Comes back inside to Noon. A lot of space all of a sudden for Petrie. Noon takes up possession and gets a little bit confused.
Yeah, real tough there, Mitch Hoare on your tail, as we said. Just managing to pick his pocket pretty much every time there, makes it tough. And Petrie's got a nice little turn on him, but Mitch Hoare with those two...
Lovely ball inside, though, to Ruben Way, and then the shot goes through by Noon. That's a really good block by Matthias Imich. It's still there for Heidelberg, though, and here's an opportunity. Good save by Luke Berean.
That's better by Heidelberg there.
Much better. They've really sprung the trap early on in this second half. Here's Petrie, puts the ball inside towards Cahill. Cahill has his pocket picked brilliantly by Tommy Jarrod. And here come Lions with Juan Carlos Solozano.
Yeah, the breaks
Madley
again.
comes wide. Shepherd over on that far side of the field. Shepherd looks to put the ball inside to Merritt Madley. Theodoridis got there just in time. Otherwise, Merritt Madley would be celebrating Lions' second goal and his first of the night.
Yeah, game really opening up now. As
Luke
Biles come down the sideline here, but few Heidelberg players really slow to get back in on onside position there. 3 of them walking with hands on hips, so certainly feeling the pace of the game a little bit. The Burgers.
Lions scored their first goal through a counter-attack and almost got their second there. But here's an opportunity now. It's defended well at the back post by Thompson. Cross a little bit too deep, but it's fallen for Zara. Zara has his pocket picked by Madley, and then Madley wins the free kick. That's excellent work from the big man up top. Comes back into his own defensive half and does a job for his team.
Great tracking back there, but great save by Borean after that excellent sliding tackle from Simic, and probably their best opportunity, the Heidelbergers. But again, Borean's been excellent all season. Another great save there, low down to his left-hand side, and not to be. But yeah, again, Zara, they're probably worth just pulling the trigger. I know it's a long way out, but yeah, it turned out into trouble, and free kick for Lions really let them off the hook.
Lions, you mentioned Heidelberg's ability to just close out games and secure wins. Lions have only tasted defeat once since the middle of May. That was a big former NSL derby against Brisbane City. 1-0 defeat here at Lions Stadium. One of just 3 defeats they suffered all year in the National Premier League. This one, Carlos Solozano shows exemplary footwork on this near side, but then just tries to take it past one too many players, and Jack Petrie doing the business in the midfield to break that play up. And here he is on the ball now. Gets fouled by Mitch Hoare, and that's a fair call from Martin Krienas, you have to say.
Yeah, a bit overzealous there, Mitch Hoare, but again, he's right there. Always, Jack Petrie hasn't even been able to go to the toilet today without Mitch Hoare looking over his shoulder. But yeah, the free kick there for Jack Petrie, a little bit of frustration as well. He's got the free kick and he was still giving a serve to the referee. So
well, Heidelberg tried to play on, but played the ball about 15 metres from where the free kick was given. And I mean, I'm all for playing on quickly, but you have to kind of put it in the vague area that the free kick was given from, surely.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, good throw over the top to Cahill. Unfortunately for Heidelberg, there was no one in the middle. Luke Berean comfortably gathering that, but Heidelberg starting to show their abilities here, and they will pose for Lions plenty of problems throughout their second 45. And there's just 35 of it remaining. Madley getting a little bit fortunate there. Sliding tackle comes flying in by Biles. Madley does well to avoid, but then Biles picks up possession once again, and Heidelberg will look to build from the back. Wilkins playing the ball up top and forward towards Katanos.
Katanos floating from wing to wing at the moment, so don't know if that's a deliberate tactic or he's just found himself on both wings, but certainly moving around a lot. But yeah, need to get him in space, as we said.
Simic read that well, and here's Solozano. Solozano's going to get tackled though. Brilliant covering tackle by Ruben Way, and Heidelberg will look to attack now through Sean Ellis on this near side. Ellis with the left-footed cross. Only one Heidelberg player there, but here's Katanos ready to pounce. Wilkins taking his time before playing the ball out wide to Katanos again. Carlos tried to squeeze that one through. Free kick is given belatedly for a handball, I think. I don't know if the Lions player over on that far side knew much about it.
Not sure. I mean, they've got the free kick here, but I'm not sure why Katanos was in the linesman's face there. He's given them the decision, so maybe they've asking for the card there, which you never like to see from players. Just let the referee decide things. You've got the free kick, but great opportunity here for Heidelberg. That's big Stephen Pace heading up there again. The opportunity to get one in. I'm not sure why Biles isn't going up there as well. I'd say it's worthwhile having him in the mixer as well.
Lions committing everybody bar Juan Carlos Lozano back. Heidelberg will look to pounce from this opportunity. 13.5 minutes into this second half. It's a decent ball headed away. Lions will look to counter-attack now. Here's Juan Carlos Lozano battling with Ruben Way, and Ruben Way covered and did really well in order to get that ball away.
Done excellently there again. Another sliding tackle from the big man. Certainly got his hands full in Solozano, but he's matching him tonight anyway. But he's working hard. He's sucking in the big ones, hands on hips regularly, pulling those. I don't think those socks can go any higher, Ruben. But that's just one of those things. He's doing really well. Just needs to get on the ball more, as we saw there with his left foot. Maybe can create a bit more and try and overlap a little bit, which is again easy to say when you've got a 70-metre run. But he's been one of their best tonight.
Here is Solozano. It's taken up by Madley. There's nobody in the middle for Lions. Madley might not need anyone in the middle and wins the corner, I think. There was a bit of a push and a shove with Stephen Pace, and now Madley goes to deck.
Yeah, a bit of afters there. I don't know why. I mean, maybe something was said there. Stephen Pace gave him a good old shove, and Madley's gone down, and yellow card the result, which is not what you want, but a bit of argy-bargy. Oh, second. So someone said something in there. That's a second yellow card, which must be for Stephen Pace, and he's been red carded.
Well, that's a remarkable outcome from that little confrontation. Martin Kriener showing a red card to, we think, Stephen Pace. We'll get a clearer indication when a player starts walking off the field, I imagine, but there was a bit of a confrontation. And
yeah, big discussion. It is Stephen Pace, I believe. He's trying to argue the point now, but linesman's in. It's all happening.
I think it might be Harry Noon who's gone off.
Okay, maybe he's said something in there. Yeah, you're right. He's trudging off. He's taking the headband off.
It's been a pretty rough season for Harry Noon. He had that awful injury in that match against South Melbourne that actually facilitated the game being abandoned.
Yeah.
He's had some bad luck up here in Queensland, actually. Last year, before the grand final, he actually rolled his ankle training the night before.
Someone else getting a chat to here. I think Biles getting called across. I don't know if that's a linesman said something, but I mean, it certainly looked like Stephen Pace got that first yellow card. I don't think Harry Noon had a card from the first half, but certainly showed a yellow card and then a red card. So interesting one there. Now Biles getting a good talking to now, so not actually sure what's all went down there.
So Luke Biles, the captain, perhaps being just informed by Martin Kriener what that decision was for, and perhaps tell his team to calm down. They have been on the referee and the entire officiating team in almost every decision, and we mentioned in the first half how that can sometimes work in your favour, and sometimes it can work against you, and I think for Heidelberg it's started to work against them, but they are really up against it now, the reigning champions, trailing by a goal and down to 10 men, and there's still 30 minutes to go in this second half. They trail by a goal to nil, and it was Nathan Shepherd who scored the goal. Will Lions be able to double their advantage here? Short corner, played into Juan Carlos Solozano. Thompson teasing towards the back post, and Matthias Imich, but there was a bit of a waste from Lions, and yes, they will hope to fight another day, and Heidelberg will hope to be able to salvage something from this game. They have a real battling side. They are not going to go down without a fight, but it's been made all that more difficult now.
That's all right. It makes it very tough for them. But as you said, I think sometimes that adversity works in their favour. They really do like being up against it, as you said, and never say die attitude. But all advantage to Lions at the moment. Could go two ways, though. Lions might get a bit comfortable against 10 men and something opens up here. It's still only 1-0, so Heidelberg in this game.
Lovely ball by Mitch Hoare in towards Marek Madley, who started that little confrontation. I think it was a shove on Stephen Pace that initially started it, and then he kind of carried on against Theodoridis, and it all just seemed to spark from that.
Yeah, a bit ridiculous there. I mean, unfortunately, we see a player in the sheds now being red-carded, which, without knowing what exactly went down there and the referee's reasoning, didn't look like too much in it, but Yeah, red card, the result.
I'd have to say that there was either an arm raised or even a closed fist as the player goes flying into that challenge over on that far side. You say you have to keep yourselves under control in these situations, particularly if you're Heidelberg. Being a player down is pretty bad, but 2 players down would be an absolute nightmare. And then there's a little off-the-ball confrontation there between Petrie and young Liam Cosgrove. Petrie coming away with the ball eventually, but Cosgrove went to deck and as the ball was played in, so there might be a little bit of niggle creeping into this game. We've seen plenty of that here over the last fortnight or so, particularly in the grand final. It really did get quite heated, that extra time victory over Olympic, and may have more of the same here against Heidelberg Lions.
Yeah, it's a very fine line. I mean, you want to see players playing with that aggression, but you can cross that line pretty easily, and you don't want Heidelberg to get too frustrated here. As we said, a few decisions not quite going their way. But yeah, they got to really keep their heads if they're going to have any chances. A great opportunity here for a free kick. A little bit far out for a shot unless they've got a worldie in their team. But nonetheless, yeah, good opportunity for them.
Do have some pretty handy players who can hit free kicks. Heidelberg, as we saw in the semi-final that Lions weren't involved in. Saw a magnificent free kick in the National Premier League's Queensland. Up here it was Alex Smith, former A-League player. Played a fair bit of time in New South Wales as well, Sydney. Fired in a delightful free kick to win the semi-final for Olympic against Western Pride. But you're right, this is a long way out, but Ruben Way is going to hit it.
A little bit of a set play there, a little sneaky one. Looked like they weren't interested, and Ruben winding up that left peg, but just off target there, unfortunately.
Always looked like it was going wide as well, it has to be said.
I mean, from that distance, he really does need to generate a lot of pace, so always hard to control your accuracy. But yeah, as we said, Luke Borean, not troubled at all, didn't phase him. Beanie didn't even move.
He did get quite a lot of it, Ruben Way, but another little collision there. Liam Cosgrove getting banged around a little bit in the midfield since coming on at half-time in replacement of Danny Kim. That's a lovely ball by Madley for Solorzano. And then it is a corner for Lions. Solorzano did pretty well there, and
yeah, Ruben just got a bit
over on that far side. Ruben Way tried to let that ball run out.
I think he did, yeah. He just got a bit mixed up there. I think he went to clear it, thought he could leave it, and ended up coming off his legs. But yeah, nice little ball through there by Madley looking for Solorzano. And again, the pace of Ruben Way keeping Solorzano out.
Official attendance has just been announced over at Stadium Tannoy, and it's 902 here at the Lion Richlands. Not too bad for a Tuesday night. This corner is going to be dealt with and mopped up over on that far side by Sean Ellis, Scotsman, formerly of Ross County.
Poor ball there.
That's a disappointing ball. He was trying to find Andrew Katanos, but the Cat was not able to use one of his 9 lives to stretch himself to get to that one. Trying to squeeze Cat puns in. It's not working, is it, Jonty?
It's nice that they got their nicknames, and I hope the main thing is you hope the players are happy with the nicknames they got, like Mr. February and whatnot. So
I'm told that Chris Theodoridis is the only player happy with Mr. February. It's his own nickname. I think he's christened himself that. So I think either, yeah, we'll let that. Apparently it's because he fancies himself as a bit of a looker, I'm told. So fancies himself as being Mr. February on the Heidelberg calendar. So when that does come out, if that comes out.
Shirt off, gloves on.
Let your imagination run wild, Jonty. Still plenty of football to be played, though, and here is Josh Wilkins looking to try and probe an opening over on that far side of the field, and that's good work from Wilkins. Does really well. A little bit lackadaisical over on that far side from Lions, but they're going to come away with it, and that's really good football from Lions. They didn't panic. They tried to squeeze that ball up top towards Josh Brindle South. But a lot of space in the midfield all of a sudden for Heidelberg. They are playing with 10 men, remember, after Harry Noon was sent off, but Heidelberg making the running way, putting the cross in. It's going to go all the way over and will be played out by Matthias Imich, who was closed down pretty quickly by Tom Cahill, and only gets it up as far as Josh Wilkins. But here come Lions now with Marek Madley. Solozano's making a run. Madley might use Shepherd, though. Shepherd played the ball inside. Will he hit the target this time? Unable to do so. Squeezes it back towards Madley. Madley on the chest. Fires it from a very acute angle. It would have been a remarkable goal from that angle.
Yeah, good combination play by the front three for Lions again, with Salazano doing a good job. Madley did well to drag the defenders across and open up the space there for Shepherd, but his little legs just couldn't get him there. Like myself, probably better over 20 yards, not 50. But nonetheless, nice little cross to the back post. But yeah, Madley, probably worth the old lobbed header to the far post there. Tried to bring it down on the chest, and I mean, if it flies in the back of the net, we all go well down Madley, but unfortunately it didn't come up all for him there.
Flies in the back of a net from that angle would be saying all sorts of things that probably wouldn't be able to be broadcast here on the nationalpremierleagues.com.au. Stream all the final series matches around the country, including this weekend when Campbeltown City hosts Sydney Olympic. That game kicks off on Saturday at 3:30 from Steve Woodcock Sports Centre, so make sure you tune in for that one. Campbeltown getting to the semi-final by beating Canberra 3-0 at Deakin Stadium, and Sydney Olympic, they managed to beat Perth by a 0-0 at Lambert Park on the weekend. So the winner of that game will face the winner of this game, and it'll be the point system that will determine who will host that grand final. As things stand, Lions have 11 points if they go on to win this game. That's a really sloppy piece of play from Heidelberg.
Yeah, just trying to overplay it a little bit. I get that they're trying to hurry things up, but you really need to make that one stick. There wasn't no pressure on Katanis there to find his fellow player in Ellis out here on the left-hand side, but sloppy turnover there, which we've seen a fair bit more of now as the game opens up.
You've got space for Chris Moore all of a sudden in midfield, and he's suddenly become aware of it. Squeezes the ball through towards Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare can hit them. He was slipping as he did, and that nearly beat the safety netting behind the goal.
Yeah, not a bad effort. Nice little cut back onto his left, and as we said, he's certainly not a left footer, but willing to have a go there, and unfortunately slipped over and then sent it high and wide. But another great sort of counter there from Lions.
Scored 5 goals in the regular season. Did Mitch Hoare from 28 appearances, 22-year-old from the Sunshine Coast. And he certainly does know where the goal is, but it's not often finds himself in a position to make those shots. It's Heidelberg looking to get into a position for themselves. Here's Cahill again. Cahill up against Shepherd. Shepherd needs to be careful not to concede a foul in that situation. Does well, but the clearance is a little sloppy from Cosgrove. We're going to see our first substitution of the night for Heidelberg. But still Cahill, and then that's ball scrambled into the back of the net. That's a fantastic goal from Heidelberg. Sean Ellis gets it, and the 10 men from Victoria are back on level terms.
Tell you what, great work there by Tom Cahill. Very strong there in and around the box, and a nice little dink there. Good header. I mean, if he missed it, you would have been screaming blue murder, but nice finish nonetheless. And well done, Heidelberg. Find themselves back in this match, man down, but they might hold off that substitution just for a little bit there. Lions a bit disappointed to concede that one, but great work nonetheless from Heidelberg.
Yeah, it's a fantastic goal, and we said that Heidelberg won't give up. It's been a real feature of the way they've played this season. They've had a few close ones, and they've always come through them. And you're right, that substitution's been put on ice for the moment. And Lions, they don't concede often, but they've conceded now, and they'll have all the work to do, but do have the advantage of the extra man.
Yeah, I think that'll give some confidence to the Heidelberg 10 men there, but got to be on their game now. Dominic has really impressed me, his balls. He's done a great job at the back for Heidelberg, but he also, what you want to see from your centre-backs is what he does is plays the ball in the midfield and sometimes carries it on his run and really throws off the opposition side that no one knows who to pick him up because he's coming from so deep.
They call him the Iceman down in Victoria. There's one Carlos Solorzano, who's ice in his veins also. Chris Marr, it's opened up for Chris Marr. That's an awful ball, though. They really should have done better. He may have even had a shot from that situation. He's managed to score 7 goals this season in the regular season for Lions, has Chrissy Marr.
Yeah, that's a bad one there. He's one of those players, Chrissy Marr, where sometimes if one or two things doesn't go his way, can really get in his head, and you hope that one doesn't mess with him too much there. But would have been some pass to find Madley's feet there, real tough one. Yeah, and as you said, maybe another touch and just have a crack at goal and try and test out that keeper.
15 minutes remaining, plus stoppage time and perhaps, if required, extra time as well. But at the moment, it is the 10 men of Heidelberg who are making all the running and really putting the 11 men of Lions under all sorts of pressure.
And I mean, they still got all 3 substitutions up their sleeve, where Lions already made 2. So
both enforced as well. Sean Carlos went off with what looked like an ankle injury, came in under an injury cloud, and he succumbed to that injury fairly early on. And then Danny Kim struggling with illness at half-time, so he was forced off and he was replaced by Liam Cosgrove. So you're right, difficult for Lions and difficult for Warren Moon. He's not got much available to change things up. If he needs to change shape or change the way Lions have played, but they haven't managed, already had to do so all year, change the way they play, that is, Lions. It's always been that 4-3-3. And they've had great success in doing so. Like I said, only lost once since the middle of May, and that came against Adelaide United in the FFA Cup up at Perry Park, as this free kick's taken quickly in the direction of Sean Ellis, and Ellis goes down holding his head. Referee will have to blow up here for the head injury, but Heidelberg it is who play on, and it's Luke Berean who claims it, and
yeah, Ellis,
in that time Ellis has got back to his feet.
He was getting up slowly there, so the referee did have a look for the head injury, but Ruben Wade's cross to the far post there, easy for Berean to take, and well played there by the referee. Didn't stop the game there when he didn't need to. How's
that for a touch from Mitch Hoare? Takes the ball away from Petrie and races towards the edge of the area. Hoare goes wide to Shepherd. Shepherd with a dangerous ball, and it was comfortably gathered by Chris Theodoridis. And that was another chance gone begging. Madley was in the middle, as was Juan Carlos Solorzano towards the back post.
Yeah, always a tough one there. It's sort of a weird area where he's almost better off taking a touch, getting to the byline to try and cut that one back, where when you try and fizz that one into the near post, it's going to have to be an absolute 1% of a worldy ball to find the attacker to score a one there. So I think a lot of players can take some onus from that one, and you got to find either the back stick or take it to that byline and cut it back. It's a real tight angle there, and very low percentage play. Always beneficial for the keeper when that one just comes straight in there to him, makes it easy.
Offside goes against Tom Cahill once more, and he looks physically pained by that decision. He's protesting to anyone who will listen, and the only person who seemed to pay any attention was Martin Kreenis, and I don't think as a player protesting too much, you don't want the referee paying too much attention to those protests, particularly if they're as virulent as his were in those situations. Here is Sean Ellis, the goal scorer. Plays the ball back inside to Biles. Now Zara looking to cross, but he can only find the foot of Andy Thompson, who's continuing to put Zara under pressure. It's escaped through though. That's a lovely ball inside. It's headed clear by Jared. Still there for Heidelberg though. The 10 men of Heidelberg dominating proceedings here at Lions Stadium. Lovely ball round the outside, back inside to the middle. Matthias Imich was the only player there. And then Tom Cahill wants the corner kick, and he's not going to get it. There is a player down. It's Andrew Katanos, and that might be a signal for a substitution. We are going to see a substitution, and it is Andrew Katanos who comes off.
So I'm not sure if he's been carrying something into this match, but maybe just ran out a bit of steam there, the young fella. But yeah, nice ball in there again, and Thomas Cahill fighting for anything, every decision, every ball. He certainly is a fighter, which is what you want from any one of your players, and he's certainly causing troubles up there as Katanos goes off the back of the field, and the big unit comes on up front.
Taylor Offley comes on, mid-season signing from Hume. He's known as the Predator, so the Cat's been replaced by the Predator.
Look out. I mean, if there's anything to go by those boots and those socks, he's going to be lively. He's
quite distinctive.
Yeah, he's a big boy. So I think he'll cause some troubles. And if you've got any pace about him with some strength there, yeah, he could be a handful.
Thompson forced to go back to Gerrard and didn't look overly happy at having to do so. Simic takes it upon himself to drive forward, and now Mitch Hoare does the same. Shepherd pulls the trigger, and it was well dealt with by Theodoridis. He's a sensational shot stopper, Chris Theodoridis, despite not being blessed with exceptional height. Would be one of the top goalkeepers in Victoria, I'm told, if he did have a couple of extra inches.
Yeah, he's certainly going to need to do something special to beat him from there. Straight at him. He did sort of fumble that one, but nonetheless, no harm in doing so. And great throw out as well, straight to Ellison on the counter. So good awareness from the keeper there as well. Always looking for that option to get a quick counter away.
10 minutes remaining in this second half, and that's a lovely touch over on that far side by Shepherd. Madley's there. Madley hits side netting. And that's a golden opportunity for Lions to retake the lead.
Yeah, nice little play there. Madley did well. A few Heidelberg players giving it to the linesman on this far side who's having none of it. So they certainly thought he was offside, but flag did not go up. So you got to play the whistle as well. And Lions a bit disappointed that they didn't get a result from that one.
Madley went 2 games without scoring across the last game of the season in the semi-final, and that constituted something of a crisis for the target man. He didn't go more than a game without scoring over the course of his remarkable season that he's had for both Holland Park and Lions here. Scored a total of 4 hat-tricks this season and 9 braces, so he's been banging the goals in all year. 42 at last count for Lions and Holland Park in all competitions, in Football Queensland competitions, that is. He was cup-tied, and I think that played a big role in Lions not getting past Adelaide United in the FFA Cup round of 16.
Yeah, he certainly would have been handy in that match where Lions did push Adelaide all the way there, but not to be. But certainly they're in this one, and they've had to fight out a few semi-finals. Knockout games that have gone to extra time. Sorry. So they're not shy at having to go the full distance. A couple of penalty shootout wins as well. So Heidelberg would rather this be settled in 90 minutes with the grand final on the weekend and having to get back to Melbourne. But nonetheless, real contest here.
Well, I was told in the course of my research by John Fatinos, thank you for all your help in getting this information to me, that Heidelberg have won their last 3 shootouts, including the 2017 Doherty Cup final against Bentley Greens, the round of 16 FFA Cup game against Sydney United the same year, and then last week in the semi-final against Oakley. Lions have won their 2 penalty shootouts this season, both the semi-final here in the National Premier Leagues and then the 4th round of the FFA Cup qualifying here in Queensland against Rochdale. It was a sort of surprise stalemate, that game. Heidelberg continued to come. It's fallen for Cahill, and now here it's Petrie, in more danger of hitting my car than the target on that occasion. But still a good opportunity for Heidelberg. They're continuing to press despite being down to 10 men. And this is incredibly promising for Heidelberg. It just shows how much desire they have to win and go back-to-back in terms of winning the National Premier League's grand final.
Yeah, they're certainly not going to go away, and they are creating those opportunities, which is a concern for Lions. But at the same time, the game's really starting to open up. A lot of tired legs out there, and it's going to take someone special anyone to just step up right now and win this for their side.
Often that man has been Marek Madley. Scored plenty of goals and is always a threat, no matter how long the game goes on for. Here he is now, turns brilliantly past pace. But Theodoridis did exceptionally well to get out. Again, Lions are continuing to press, but Heidelberg aren't going away either. Here comes Ruben Way from the back. He's forced to go back to his centre-back, Luke Biles. It's a good ball by Biles up towards Tom Cahill. Cahill once again of the ball. Mitch Hoare gives away the ball dangerously towards Offley. And Offley continues to give chase. That's lovely work from Matthias Imich. Exceptional footwork from the big centre-back and captain, but he does have his pocket picked in the end by the substitute. And Heidelberg will look to counter-attack now with Imich out of position. They're unable to do so with any real directness and efficiency, and it was in fact Matthias Imich who was able to pick the pocket and get the ball back in Lions' possession.
Yeah, good play there by Imich, and nice little footwork from the centre-back, which you don't often see, but just overplayed it a bit. I think he got too confident and started doing rollovers and step-overs and all sorts, and gave the ball away. But yeah, again, a lot of hands on heads. Jack Petrie really sucking in the big ones there. So this game's there for the taking.
Jared's going to try and keep this in. He's unable to do so. Yeah, they've worked very, very hard, Heidelberg. They had 120 minutes of football on Friday in the National Premier League's victorious semi-final. They won that against Oakley Cannons on penalties. They'll be certainly feeling that, and like you said, it won't suit Heidelberg to have to deal with extra time when they have a grand final in Victoria to deal with. Perhaps Marek Madley will be able to do something here. Here's Marr. Goes wide to Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare has a bit of time and space. It's going to be closed down by the substitute, and then saw the run and perhaps got a little bit confused as to which side he was playing for, and ended up playing the ball into Offley. It would have been a lovely ball, except it wasn't Josh Brindle-South on the end of it. Yeah,
it might have been a sneaky call there from the opposition player, but bad pass nonetheless. But Lions again with an opportunity here. Got Heidelberg pinned back on their 18-yard box at the moment.
It goes down.
One there.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. Nathan Shepherd went down. I think he was perhaps asking for a free kick based on some contact off the ball, but we've seen quite a lot of contact off the ball in these situations, and thankfully the referee hasn't been sucked into giving too many free kicks for it. So it's been an exceptional game of football, and there's only 4 minutes of normal time remaining. We may be treated to an extra 30 minutes, Jonty.
Yeah, I think there shouldn't be too much stoppages. Not that many substitutions in this half as Heidelberg on the attack here.
Here's Ellis looking to seal it in normal time. He's chipped that one just over the top. The substitute, Attila Offley, wanted it played inside to him, but that was a lovely effort from Ellis. I mean, it would have had to have been fairly exceptional to beat Luke Borean, who was backtracking, but
yeah, I think for a split second there, Borean did think that could trouble him, but yeah, just not quite getting the angle right. But yeah, Heidelberg with their 10 men continue to create some chances here, and not much time left in this game. I think if some side gets a clear chance here, it certainly will be the winner if they can put it away.
You can say many things about Luke Borean. Unflappable is one of them. He doesn't panic on many occasions, does he?
No, he's quite eccentric and out there, as most keepers are. But yeah, he's really cool and calm and confident in his own ability, and he's got plenty of ability as well. So no harm there.
Well, both goalkeepers are unique individuals. As Heidelberg looked to break, and all of the time and space in the world over on that far side. Lofted towards Ellis. Borean needed to do well. Watched it right into his palms, and that's good goalkeeping from Luke Borean.
Yeah, good area to cross the ball, but just not enough pace there. Would have troubled him if there was a bit more zip on that one, but again, Borean, anything in that 6-yard box, he'll gobble it right up.
Be disappointed to have conceded. In fact, Lions have conceded in their 4th straight game tonight, so that's fairly unusual for a team that's kept 17 clean sheets. As Shepherd plays the ball inside to Mitch Hoare. Now Madley, don't want to give him too much time and space in the penalty area, but it was well snuffed out by the Heidelberg defence, and they'll look to take the ball upfield. There's no options though for Jack Petrie, and he's forced to go back, and Heidelberg go long. That time even Tom Cahill admitted that he was offside, and that's been a rarity in this game so far.
Yeah, Madley there, tough area to turn, a lot of bodies around, but it's one of those goal sneaks. Sometimes you just need half a yard there and you can bury it, but good defence by Heidelberg again, and I think they're happy to just clear their lines a little bit at the moment as they find themselves under a bit of pressure.
Seen him operate in even tighter spaces than that and still managed to conjure something up, so Marek Madley, one play, you don't want to be left alone. Here is Cosgrove, who was left alone a little bit. Madley, a bit too far out from goal to be any real threat, and then he couldn't squeeze that ball wide to Shepherd. And Heidelberg will look to break with Cahill and Wilkins. It's an excellent break from Wilkins. He instigated this breakaway, and he's racing into the penalty area all on his own now. Cahill is arriving belatedly and then wins a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, I mean, good play there by him. Didn't have much support up there. I mean, he certainly played for that one where went for the old token Megs and ran straight into the solid centre back there in Gerard, but he was never going to win that ball on the other side. So he's done well to win the free kick there in a great area at a crucial time of this match as all the big boys from Heidelberg head up there, which again looks like Biles isn't heading up there, which I'm not sure why he stays back. I mean, he's a good centre back as Heidelberg make a substitution here late in the match. But yeah, get the big boys up.
Jack Petrie has played his final minutes of the game, and he's been replaced by Paul O'Brien, the local lad from Brisbane, played with Redlands in the National Premier League's Queensland Grand Final winning side for Redlands. As this free kick is swept in, it took a deflection, and it'll be a corner, and we are entering the final seconds of this game. And there may well have been a board in amongst all those substitutions, but I have to admit I didn't see it. Just indicating how much time added on. I dare say it will be the standard 3, but that's a very good free kick, or corner, I'm sorry. And
yeah, great area, but fell there by Olfie on Borean. I think Borean did play for that a little bit, but he certainly was impeded there, and rightly so, free kick. So unfortunately there, that would probably will be the last opportunity of the normal time anyway, unless Lions can come up with something here in the dying seconds.
Say extra time probably suits Lions more than Heidelberg, just about, even though they've played 10 games in a slightly less time, as Chris Marr goes down and wants a free kick for that effort by Paul O'Brien. I don't think he's going to get one, but
yeah,
Chris Marr is still down. It was late, and I'm not quite sure what need there was at this late stage for that. It looks a little bit nasty. To be honest, from Paul O'Brien, looking to make his mark. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think just a bit over-enthusiastic there, with too much force from Obi-Wan. Not quite in control. Yeah, Chrissy Marr, I think a bit of a cork there, which he's walking like a 95-year-old man at the moment. I know how that feels like, but yeah, not happy, Chrissy.
Only in his mid-20s, isn't he, Chris Marr?
Yeah, that's it. But he's been around a long time.
He's played a lot of football.
Well.
Middleton, Strikers, Rochdale, another stint at Strikers in the National Premier Leagues, and South United last year. So he has been around the block a few times, Chris Marr, but still a young man.
But finding himself in the wars once again as Brindle South on the ball here.
Good ball by Shepherd. Brindle South goes down. He was looking for it every day of the week, and Chris Theodoridis is the fastest he's moved all night to try and ask for the yellow card. Again, you don't like seeing players ask for a yellow card, but you have to admit, Josh Brindle South did go down remarkably easy there and was certainly looking for a free kick. Good
decision by the referee. Yeah, he certainly was looking for the foul there, but good refereeing, goal kick the result, and it's one of those, players do it all the time, and there was certainly contact, so it's not like he just fell on the floor, which you don't want to see that kind of stuff. But we also don't like seeing players run out chasing the referee, trying to get other players carded. But again, Brindle South might have been better trying to stay on his feet there.
Shouldn't laugh, but Chris Marr is still hobbling around with that knee injury, and I just can't, or that cork, and you just can't get the image out of my head of him with a Zimmer frame, I'm afraid. But you know, I'm going to blame you for putting that into my head, Johnson.
He's not happy, and I mean, you'd hate to see the substitute being substituted. But yeah, he's really feeling it at the moment and not moving too well as final whistle goes for this normal time.
I've been told there were 4 minutes added on at the end, but that's going to make no difference at all, as Chris Marr just does attend to his
calf,
leg,
looks
and
like
it does look like a calf that he's managed to get an injury on, and he's going to need to get a little bit of treatment. And then to add insult to injury, Warren Moon screams out quickly to get into the middle. So, and a little bit of discussion needing now to take place between the two coaches and their respective sides, and there's all sorts of discussions going on now. Another discussion in the midfield happening with Martin Kreenis and an official from Heidelberg. It does look like George Katsakis from this angle, and George Katsakis might well be better off having a word with his players rather than the officials.
So. I think he's just having a word about the Brindle South incident at the end of the game. Then I get them wanting to get him carded, but you know what? At halfway, Josh Brindle South probably gets that free kick because it's in the box. They view it differently. But anyway, as you said, it's probably better off he gets his players and has a nice chat to them, because they certainly finish off that half quite strongly there, and as customary for Luke Borean, he ambles over in his own time. Probably won't have much to say, but yeah, both sides in this match, and Heidelberg's 10 men really fighting well, and could have stole it right there at the end there.
They're an unusual breed, goalkeepers, it has to be said. It has to be said as well that neither side will really benefit, could be penalised for this game going to extra time in terms of the points that it takes in order to get through to the final and hosting duties in the grand final. So how it works is you earn points over the course of the National Premier League's finals campaign, and the team with the most points will host the game. That wasn't the case in this situation because Heidelberg had to move their match. This would normally have been played on the weekend, of course, but Heidelberg were actually playing in their grand final this weekend, so it had to be removed, and they had to make that call pretty early before they even qualified for the grand final, just in case they got there. So despite the fact that they came into this game on 10 points to Lions 5, they relinquished hosting duties to do so. So as things stand at the moment, both these sides will only win 2 points for winning after extra time if they can find a winner in this situation. If they take penalties, they only get 1 point, and that could be very important. Sydney at the moment only have 4 points, but Campbeltown have 14. So if Campbeltown manage to get any sort of result against Sydney Olympic, they will go through and host the grand final next week. So, or yes, next Saturday, not this Saturday coming, next Saturday. So that is important. And how important is it in terms of hosting? Because obviously it's not like in the National Premier League, although having said that, here in Queensland we are quite used to having to travel with teams in Cairns, Mackay and Townsville that the players have to get used to travelling to over the course of the season, whereas everywhere else it appears to be a state competition that's pretty much based in the capital city. And so travel, not so much of an issue. But for Heidelberg, the only travel they would have had to do is in their FFA Cup ties. And it has to be said, they have lost the last 2 games that they've played after midweek ties in the Cup. So this is really bad news for them in terms of a grand final on Sunday.
That's right. I mean, it's always tough as well travelling the day of the game, and they're doing really well with 10 men at the moment, but it's really sapping the energy for their legs. And I mean, we can talk about the point system and who's hosting here, there and everywhere, but right now for both of these sides, the most important thing is winning this match. And I think both sides would rather do it in extra time here than going to penalties. But yeah, I mean, from Heidelberg's point of view, having the grand final this weekend, it's sort of tough for them having to play. I'm sure Avondale sitting back and really loving that they are going to have to go the full distance here tonight. But yeah, it's tough for players. I mean, most of these guys all have jobs during the day as well, so it's not like you go and get nice recovery sessions for the next couple of days. But yeah, right now both sides just going to go for the win, I'd say, and it'd be interesting to see if they sit back a little bit or actually go all out and try and get this next goal as Lions do the old customary huddle and try and pep each other up. But 10-man Heidelberg certainly looking the goods. Just creating those clear-cut opportunities for both sides hasn't really happened in the second half, and that's a credit to both sides' defence. As I said, Lions are one of the best, well, the best defensive record in the National Premier Leagues. But yeah, conceded in the last 4 or 5 games. But again, playing against semi-final and final opponents, there are the better sides going around now. So really testing out the Lions' defence as Zara looks to kick us off here in the start of extra time.
Avondale, of course, do have their own match that they need to play tomorrow in the FFA Cup. They take on Sydney FC tomorrow night. You'll be able to catch that on Fox Sports. The other game being Melbourne City against Western Sydney Wanderers. Heidelberg taking on Bentley Greens the following week at the same time as APL Leichhardt against Adelaide United. As we do kick things off, Heidelberg in the black and yellow, kicking from left to right as you see it. And that is Luke Berean in the number 90 shirt, in the beanie. And he will pick this ball up and look to get things started for Lions, who led early through Nathan Shepherd in the 20th minute. It was a wonderful counter-attacking goal, instigated by both the leading goal scorer, Marek Madley, holding the ball up, and then a lovely through ball by Mitch Hoare. It was instigated in the first instance by Nathan Shepherd, who picked up the ball, and he managed to get onto the end of it. A little bit fortunate with the touch, but there's nothing fortunate about the finish. It was really expertly placed past Chris Theodoridis. And Heidelberg, despite having Harry Noon sent off, managed to get themselves back into the game whilst with 10 men, and it was Sean Ellis who got that goal. And they have looked remarkably strong despite being down a man for the vast majority of that second half.
And you must say a lot of credit to Tom Cahill for that one. He worked really hard up front, as he has done all match, and fights for everything. As we said, lone wolf up there, working really hard to make it difficult for Lions, as he did for their goal. But yeah, 10 men. Interesting to see how they go in this extra time. They might be happy to go to the penalties, but we'll have to wait and see.
There's one Kyle Solazano. He's worked pretty hard and tried to play that ball through, but it was nonchalantly dealt with by Stephen Pace. And Mitch Hoare goes down, attempting to make the tackle, but in fact just worked in getting the foul on the substitute, who has relatively fresh legs, Attila Offley, mid-season signing from Hume. Ball's played through towards Cahill. That's good work by Cahill. Jared does well, though. Initially was second best in that contest, but managed to gain the supremacy and has managed to concede a throw-in, actually win a throw-in for Lions. He managed to play that ball off Tom Cahill. So excellent work there at the back by Tommy Jarrett. He's been good all night. He actually got sent off in the semi-final up here in Queensland, in the National Premier League's Queensland, and you could see the impact that made in the grand final for Lions, but nevertheless they still managed to come out on top against Olympic. And here's another one to chase. It's an awkward one. It had to be dealt with in the end by Biles. Yeah,
great work by him again. He's been a stalwart at the back there for the Burgers. Solazano doing well to chase that one down as well. But yeah, Tommy Dare devastated to miss the grand final, but still got the result. So happy days for him nonetheless.
Mitch Hoare showing exemplary footwork over on that fast, and then something less exemplary in catching Ruben Way. And we're going to see the final substitution of the night for Lions, and it's going to be Tyson Walpole who comes on.
Chris Marr going off.
Chris Marr, who was a substitute himself.
So yeah, Lions are struggling a little bit. I'm sure Warren Moon, I'm not too happy with having all these substitutions being enforced, but nonetheless, a great opportunity for the young Tyson here. Young lad, Lions kid who's come through the ranks and gets his opportunity in quite an important match.
He's only played 10 minutes of senior football this season as Tyson Walpole. That was against Redlands United, who finished towards the bottom of the National Premier League's Queensland. He was an unused substitute in the game against Brisbane City. What a time to come on and potentially make an impact in the National Premier League's final series.
Yeah, he's got some great technique on him, the young fellow. Just, I suppose, being a bit more vocal and confident in his ability, but certainly has good technique as Shepherd intercepts one here.
Plays that ball through towards Merritt Madley. Shepherd's going to continue his run, but not with any real purpose. Walpole makes his way into the middle. Madley looks like he's going to try and go all himself. He's doing it all himself at the moment. A great tussle once again with Stephen Pace. But that's exceptional work from Merritt Madley. He wins his side a corner. And that was brilliant, brilliant stuff from the front man.
Yeah, great work from both of them, actually. There's Stephen Pace to keep him in check as well. And don't know, something's gone on between those two tonight, because Stephen Pace just threw the ball into the back of Madley there. So that's sort of what kicked off the melee for the red card earlier in the match. But again, Thompson with a great opportunity to whip this ball in, and hopefully he can make it a good one.
Well, it was. If you've just joined us, Harry Noon was sent off, and it was sent off after a little bit of a scuffle that was instigated by Madley. So that ball finds its way through and was dealt with at the near post in the end by Heidelberg. Mitch Hoare, it's an awkward one. It's going to be chased by Offley. And Luke Berean plays it into the back of Offley. And then Offley goes in on Luke Berean. It's a free kick to Lions, and was the foot up. It's going to be a yellow card to Offley.
Tell you what, Borean's lucky to get away with that one. They went to play a first-time pass out wide, but found the Offley closing down on him, and luckily for Borean, it did bounce back to him, and he's done well to clear that one. He certainly played for the free kick as well, so Offley could probably find himself a little bit unlucky there to receive the yellow card, but nonetheless, Lions lucky to get away with that one.
Just going to see replay now of that incident. And yeah, Luke Berean just very, very lackadaisical, and then the foot was up a little bit, I guess, from Offley, but it was more just a 50-50 collision that Luke Berean came out second best in. But Lions, let's not forget, haven't got any more substitutions, and Luke Berean, he's been banged up a couple of times in the course of the last fortnight or so. In the grand final and in the semi-final, he managed to take a couple of hits. And in fact, it was actually a red card for Edgeworth Eagles star Dan McBreen on Saturday, and that was for a late challenge on
the old code hanger from Danny McBreen. So quality play for the A-League, and I was obviously doing the work now with Edgeworth Eagles, but yeah, probably not his finest moment, that one. But yeah, Borean here, I think maybe a bit of gamesmanship, just making sure. I mean, you hope he hasn't rolled that ankle or anything like that, because as you said, no more substitutions for Lions. But yeah, again, he was lucky to get away with that one there.
He has missed one game this season, back in round 6, Luke Borean, but they've managed to win just about every game that he's played in, and the 17 clean sheets speak for themselves. It was a round 6 game against Western Pride here at the Lion Richlands that Lions actually lost by 1-0. Luke Borean does look like he's able to continue, and obviously the situation of being a goalkeeper going down injured, of course, doesn't have to go off, otherwise you could have some fairly comical situations. But he will take this free kick and go short, so we won't get an indication as to how that ankle's feeling just yet. But that's taken a big chunk of time out of this first half of extra time. It is Lions 1, Heidelberg United 1. The 10 men of Heidelberg battling furiously in order to stay in with a chance of defending their National Premier League's crown.
Yeah, I think that extra stoppage probably benefits Heidelberg with the man down, as Biles again cleans up at the back.
He's pinballing around a little bit here.
Very vocal there from the Heidelberg players again as Mitch Horse slips over, but manages just to recover it really well,
that summed up
as he does.
That summed up his season, to be honest. Even the things that don't quite go 100% correct still managed to come off. He's just been remarkable this year.
That's right. I think he makes a lot of his own luck. Some people might look at that and go, oh, he's so lucky, but he certainly works his socks off and gets the results. And he's had an excellent season for Lions. You almost hope he could get a cheeky winner, because he probably deserves it.
It'll be just his 6th goal of the season, Mitch Hoare. Only managed 5 in the previous 2 seasons at Brisbane City. Managed to score a couple of good goals in that situation, but he's a very nonchalant character. Looks to pull the trigger there, but the foul had already been given and the whistle had already been blown. He's such a nonchalant character. I remember he scored a screamer up at Walter Park a couple of seasons ago and just turned around and walked back towards his own half. It was quite remarkable. And I think it was the go-ahead goal at the time as well. He's very relaxed. He cuts a very relaxed figure.
And I mean, in the dressing room as well, I wouldn't say his banter is flying. Just no nonsense player, old Mitch Hoare. He just gets on with it, doesn't muck around. And yeah, as you said, socks half down. Sometimes he's one of those, doesn't need to be pretty. He just makes sure that he does the work, which is the main thing.
Flag is up on this near side. Referee hasn't spotted it yet, so play's being allowed to continue. But once again, it is Tom Cahill who's pleading to whichever god he fancies at the moment as to why that was given us a offside against him. He's pleading to the heavens. The arms have been upraised and upraised, and in outrage. He's kind of frustrated figure at times, the big target man, but he's played his role in what has been a fantastic performance from Heidelberg.
Yeah, always tough as that guy up there trying to hold it up. You've got to do a lot of chasing when you're out there on your own, especially up against 2 decent centre-backs, as Thompson has a good run here.
It's excellent work from Thompson. Plays it through into the middle, and it's side netting once again. Didn't look like it'd get a touch, so it will be a goal kick for Heidelberg.
Yeah, nice run there from Thompson. He slipped a nice ball into young Walpole, but maybe the excitement of the occasion got to him there, and he was in more space than he probably realised, and he's tried to cross that first time, and he's shanked it quite badly and out for a goal kick, unfortunately.
As Walpole's been involved in the first team twice this season. He was on the bench in the quarter-final of the National Premier Leagues on Saturday. Did not get used, but he has played 18 times for the under-20s, scoring 2 goals. Be some time to get your first senior goal.
That's right. I'm sure he'd appreciate that if he could, as Heidelberg have a great opportunity.
Brilliant opportunity for Ellis. Borean commits, and Ellis puts it the wrong side of the net. Borean did just enough. That's exceptional goalkeeping from Luke Borean.
I tell you what, Ellis will be kicking himself that he didn't score there. He's done a great touch to get him in on goal, and he's faked it, Borean's gone down, but then he's tried the cheeky little chip over Borean, who's done exceptionally well to get that wide. And yeah, Ellis really should have put that one away. He'll be kicking himself right now.
That should have been game, set, match, Heidelberg. Instead,
and you've seen that a few times from Borean this season when you thought, oh, this is a goal for sure, and he's managed somehow to get it away as he did there today. But yeah, I mean, Ellis should have just buried that. He could have almost gone round Borean and just walked it in, but he's gone for the little cheeky chip, and unfortunately, he's made a fool of himself.
Not always tidy, Luke Borean, but he always gets the job done. A ball's just the wrong side of a post again. It was Cahill who got the final touch, coming in late into that dangerous area at the front post.
Yeah, Zara again there with the little flick, but the Lions really need to wake up to that one. They've tried it pretty much every time there, Heidelberg, so got to get someone in front of Zara there to clear that one because it's coming in quite low, but caused a bit of trouble there for Lions, and they were lucky to get away with the goal kick.
Cosgrove's making a couple of heavy touches. The substitute coming on midway through that first half. Heidelberg have made just 2 changes. The Lions have made 3 of theirs. As KL just tries to go past the brick wall that is Matthias Imich, and Imich stands up well and manages to dispossess the big target man for Heidelberg, and Lions will look to build from the back. Here's Josh Brindle South. And now Liam Cosgrove, Danny Kim it was, who was substituted midway through the game at half-time, in fact, after succumbing to an illness that he's been suffering from during the week. There's a lot of it going about in Brisbane at the moment.
Mitch Hoare doing excellently again in the midfield there, but yeah, it's really really opening up here. It's Tyson.
Walpole almost got in the way of Marek Madley, but
they've managed a corner out of that one.
It's interesting how that managed to come about, to be honest. It looked like Tyson Walpole and Marek Madley were going to trip up over themselves, and then Walpole suddenly realising that the club's star signing was about to get dispossessed by him, so he sort of threw himself to the floor, and in all that confusion, Lions will have a corner kick, and you never know. Sometimes it's the innocuous corners that sometimes lead to the most pivotal results, and it's going to be swept in now. It's a high one. It's an awkward one. It was Theodoridis who hammered it away. It's only gone as far as Cosgrove, though, and it's coming straight back into the danger area. Cahill with the header. Mitch Hoare tried to get on the end of it, but that was well cleared by pace. It's going to come back, though. Not if Adrian Zara has anything to do with it, and Heidelberg will clear over on that far side now, despite that sliding challenge from Madley.
Yeah, no Heidelberg player up this end of the field, so they pin back at the moment. Yeah, Lions really on top in these closing stages.
Just a minute remaining in this first half of extra time. There will be a little bit added on after that injury to Luke Borean. In fact, I see Lara Lee, our 4th official today, just going over to the board now, so we'll keep our eye on that as Lions continue to keep possession in their attacking half. It's Tommy Jarrett looking for an option, probing and prodding at the Heidelberg defence. Cosgrove. Pace injected by Mitch Hoare. Solozano through to Shepherd. Shepherd keeps his feet. Flicks that ball back, a little bit too intricate there from Shepherd, and it's hammered upfield by Heidelberg. This is not bad tactics from Heidelberg, just getting the ball away, particularly in the closing seconds of this first half of extra time.
But yeah, a lot of walking players now. Everyone really feeling it as the first half of extra time draws to a close. But Mitch Hoare again involved in everything for Lions.
It's all coming through him in the midfield. Mitch Hoare, he's been running all night. He's still running now, the only player on the pitch who is, it seems. And we have seen, and it is just the 1 additional minute at the end of the first period of extra time. Heidelberg look to clear their lines and perhaps strike in the final 60 seconds. Not if Andy Thompson has anything to do with it. He tries to go forward, but then we go back to Matthias Imich, captain. Now Cosgrove, playing in that role that Danny Kim has played so brilliantly all year. Imich taking it upon himself. Now wide to Juan Carlos Solozano, who's almost the deepest player for Lions. That won't please Warren Moon. We want his striker in the mixer.
But pretty much every single outfield player on the Heidelberg 18-yard box at the moment. So not too much areas for Lions to get in, as as they try one up the middle, which, yeah, too many Heidelberg players there to beat them there as the first half draws to a close.
There's a little bit of a discussion there between Liam Cosgrove and Matthias Imich about options that they may have taken, but that's all bridge under the water under the bridge. I mean, it goes to extra time and everyone starts losing their minds, Johnsy.
Yeah, I think a lot of players there getting a bit frustrated, as you do when you're getting tired, and a lot riding on this game, obviously, with the National Premier League's final next week. But, Heidelberg doing great work there again to hang on with the 10 men, and did have a couple of opportunities there, but again, no clear-cut chance for either side. So the defence again on top for both teams.
Except, of course, that effort from Sean Ellis that the former Ross County player managed to somehow put wide after Luke Berean managed to stand tall and put the Scotsman off. But it was a real hearts in mouths moment for Lions on that first half, and there is now just 15 minutes in order to find a winner without resorting to penalties, which is a horrible way, almost barbaric way to find out. I
don't mind an old penalty shootout. I mean, you can't play forever, you know what I mean? But it really takes a lot of nerve, and I suppose Ellis is the only one really right now kicking himself where he could have given the advantage. And I mean, you can't blame the groundsman here because there's no bobbles in that 6-yard box. He really needed to put that one away. But referee trying to get the second half underway here, and all to play for. And, both sides looking for a hero to stand up and put it away.
Situations like this, Johnsy, as a player, you must just have to put the aches in your legs to one side, the burning in your lungs. You must just have to think.
Oh, it's all mental, that's right. It's a real mental battle now. Your body can do funny things, and I'm sure there's people cramping and really feeling it, but you've actually got a fair bit more to give, which it's all about digging deep and really battling yourself in your mind. And as I said, it just takes one player to go, you know what, I'm gonna do that little extra run. I'm gonna run that extra 10 yards, and could be the difference here. It's something as simple as that. I know it's the old cliche of the 1%ers, but that's really all it is right now. You certainly don't want to see someone make a big mistake that costs their side dearly. You'd rather see it the other way with a piece of brilliance from one of these players stepping up where, you never know. Madley, as we said, he's managed to pop up with some really important goals, or Zara, who's been a little bit quiet tonight, probably by his standards, but he's certainly got the ability there, and you never know. All it takes is one little piece of magic, and could see your side in the final.
Get things back underway. Lions in the orange, kicking from left to right. That was the voice of Jonty Richter, former player with the Queensland Roar in the Hyundai A-League. Providing expert analysis here at Lions Stadium alongside me, Simon Smale, from the National Premier League's semi-final between the champions of Queensland and the premiers Heidelberg from Victoria. Lions did have the lion's share of possession towards the end of that first period of extra time, and they are continuing where they left off here in the second. Lots of football in the legs of these players over the course of a long season. We started in early February up here in Queensland when it was 1,000 degrees and 400% humidity here at Lions Stadium. Remember you coming on in the final few moments of the first game, Jonty, and you were sweating buckets within 30 seconds of coming on.
I think I needed to be sweating buckets, carrying a few extra kilos. But, certainly does feel like a long season for these semi-professionals as Madley finds himself in the box here.
Good ball from Madley. Solazano was there to get his head onto it, and it's going to fall instead for Tyson Walpole, I think. And Heidelberg player does go down. And
a bit of a rough and tumble challenge there. But, I mean, Big Tyson is, I say Big Tyson, he's not the biggest lad in the world, so not sure who it is there. It looks like he's holding his shoulder. It might be Ellis, which certainly from Heidelberg's point of view, you hope he's okay and hasn't popped his shoulder out.
Big bad news for Sean Ellis, if it is indeed him who's down.
Referee just giving a talking to the old hyphenator there again. He's very vocal at any of these contentious decisions, the old keeper there for Heidelberg. But again, the referee's not going to change his decision now, and you just hope that Ellis is okay here on the deck as the physio attends to him.
Well, he'll be one who will take a penalty, or put his hand up to take a penalty. Chris Theodoridis Petropoulos scored 4 goals in the National Premier League's Victoria this season, all of them from the spot. And starting to get to that sort of time, isn't it? Do you, as players in these situations, Jonty, start thinking about if you're going to take a penalty? If you know you're going to be taking a penalty, are you thinking about that at the moment? Or are you just focusing on trying to win it without having to resort to penalties?
I'm sure there's one or two players in their mind thinking, oh, maybe we can do it at penalties, or I don't want to get to penalties because I don't want to take one. But yeah, you'd want your more senior players anyway to be certainly focused in this moment, and it's all about trying to create that opportunity now normal time, because there's no better way than winning it off of one kick rather than trying to do it with 5 spot kicks.
Both teams have recent successful penalty shootout experience, as the ball is given back by Tom Cahill.
Yeah, great.
Luke Barin.
Great sportsmanship there. Tommy Gerrard had all the faith in the world that he was going to do the right thing there, defending the wrong side, which you wouldn't want to see it, but certainly he had a clear run at goal if he chose to there, Tom Cahill, but fair play to him, played it back to Borean.
Well, Luke Barin wasn't even standing in his goal area. He was sort of off to one side as well. So again, I mean, what a controversy that would be, but you wouldn't like to see it, and I can't recall ever seeing a situation like that. It's the unwritten rule, isn't it, in football, that these things just don't happen. As Mitch Hoare picks up possession, he wants Andy Thompson to make a bit of a move and create an angle, but Mitch Hoare tries to squeeze through anyway. Ruben Way mops up for Heidelberg and will look to clear, but it is a throw in to Lions in this situation. And
he's done well there, Andy Thompson, but great work by Ruben Way again to cover defensive. Lions make another substitution here. So
we'll clear this up. You are allowed 4 substitutions in the National Premier League's final series, not in the National Premier League's Queensland, which did actually take place.
I can already hear the uproar on the comments. Yes, we did have an issue here where the referees allowed Lions to make 4 substitutions in a match earlier this year, where it was clearly the referees that indicated that to both sides. We've got to make that clear. That did come out after the match. It wasn't illegal, but technically that rule is not coming into effect in Queensland until next year, which it is allowed in the National Premier Leagues right now. Hence the reason Carter Glockner finds himself on the field right now.
Carter Glockner, the former Brisbane City and Easts player, a former teammate, of course, of Mitch Hoare. And he's got lightning pace. That's exactly what you want in these situations with tired legs. As Marek Madley tries to squeeze in. Still an opportunity there. It was Madley who actually played the ball back inside. So that was, in fact, Tyson Walpole who was there in the mixer and getting a good opportunity to open his account for Lions, but was unable to get onto the end of it. And we will continue play here. Just 10 minutes of football remaining before penalties, and free kick is given in favour of Heidelberg this time. And Tom Cahill still has something to say to referee Martin Krunas, perhaps just thanking the referee.
Yeah, I think Heidelberg expected that one to go against them, but as it has done most of this match, but another opportunity for them here as they look to launch it into the box.
Haven't quite got the rub of the green, have they, Heidelberg? It's fair to say, in some of those 50-50 decisions. And they were 50-50 decisions, and they could have gone either way on so many occasions. It just happened that a lot of them did go in favour of the home side so far. And again, we weren't really cited in terms of seeing the red card incident for Harry Noon. He was sent off in the second half of normal time. Cahill rises highest. And it was a good header under some pressure from the Brisbane Lions defence.
Slaps the ground there in frustration, and he's really worked his socks off up there, but hasn't quite been his night in terms of finishing off the moves. But yeah, certainly has worked his socks off and sucking in the big ones here. But still plenty of time in extra time here, so hopefully we can see some action.
Imich back inside to Cosgrove. Cosgrove was closed down by the substitute Offley. Ball towards Juan Carlos Solozano. Can't quite maintain possession though, and Heidelberg will come again. Wilkins goes long. I think the flag would have gone up had the run continued from Offley.
Yeah, a bit lazy there from the substitute Offley. Certainly at this time of the match, can't afford to be sitting offside there, as Mitch Hoare finds himself in a good area again.
Lovely ball by Mitch Hoare, and then a little swipe out there by Paul O'Brien. Came off the bench, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You like that one, don't you, John?
I do love it. And again, too much force. He can't control his force. He's meant to be one with it, but just in the back there of Mitch Hoare, and certainly a free kick. And it is an annoying one, so I can see his frustration. But at the end of the day, you can't do that from behind. And Mitch Hoare facing the sideline, he should really just jockey him there. There's not much on, but great opportunity for young Shepherd to whip it in.
Good opportunity for Lions to perhaps get the go-ahead goal. They led early in this game. What can they do in this situation? It's a deep, deep free kick. That's a real waste.
Yeah, too much sauce on that one from Shepherd. So probably wishes he could have that one again, and no harm to the Heidelberg goal.
It's worth mentioning that Heidelberg are missing a few of their first-choice players. Alex Schiavo, unfortunately, missing with a knee injury. He suffered that in the quarter-final victory down in Tasmania against Devonport. It was unfortunate. He would have loved to come up here and play against his former club and against the club that his father played for. Paul Schiavo, bit of a legend up here in Brisbane football.
Yeah, and it's been a tough trot for him. He's had a number of injuries, and it's probably been his best season down there in terms of his fitness. So a bit of a tough one for Alex, and hopefully he's resting up nicely and recovering and ready for next season. But
he went from being on the periphery to really sort of nailing down a starting spot, did Alex Schiavo, as again Tom Cahill continues his protestations, and he's gone full of full array of those over the course of the evening. He didn't go in this favour again as Brindle South gets the ball inside to Mitch Hoare. Mitch Hoare under all sorts of pressure, but still manages to get the ball away. It was Paul O'Brien who was getting underneath Mitch Hoare's skin, and then Hoare tries to squeeze that ball through towards Marek Madley. Madley slides, and he may well have got a touch, and it will be a Heidelberg ball. And Madley shakes his head in disappointment, I think, rather than in some sort of protest about the decision. It was a good call, I think, by the linesman, who was right in front of it.
Yeah, and good work from Biles again. It's been a good battle between those two, and probably Biles just shading it at the moment. But yeah, two big boys, two strong guys, really working hard.
A little bit of confusion as to who was going to go for that. Again, Tyson Walpole, who's only played 10 minutes of senior football before, and he does brilliantly well there on Reuben Way. And Mitch Hoare battling with Sean Ellis, and Ellis does brilliantly, and Ellis will fire this ball up forward towards Cahill. And Cahill, under all sorts of pressure, he's done excellently, Cahill,
great
there.
Work there from the big man.
3 Lions players around him. And
big Leon Cosgrove got a lesson there in senior football. He came in for the old sneaky tackle and just got the 4 from Cahill there and put him on his backside. But great work by the big man to win his side of throw-in.
There's some conversation going on between the players and the officials here. It was Reuben Way who was just letting our referee, Martin Kreenis, into a few secrets. And there's another Lions player gone down there. I think it's Cosgrove just getting caught late in that situation. Luke Berean manages to stop the corner from being conceded and plays the ball out quickly to his captain, Matthias Imich. And those two play a 1-2. Imich does well to control that hard-paced ball from Luke Berean out with his head, and now plays the ball forward. Here's Marek Madley, the flag is up.
Yeah, good decision there by the linesman. Just waited till he touched the ball, but certainly was about a yard or so offside there. As all the players are really walking now. I think a couple of minutes to go, not too much happening, and as we said, a lot of tired legs out there. So at this stage, penalties looking the most likely, but should be a good contest if we get there. Both keepers, I think, will take a spot kick as they normally do, so could be interesting. Luke
Berean scored the winning spot kick in the semi-final, but did miss one in the regular season against Western Pride in one of the most dramatic.
That one.
Well, it was one of the most incredible penalty saves I think I've ever seen in that game. It was one of the most incredible games we've had up here in the National Premier Leagues. It was just remarkable football, and we did see some cracking encounters, and we have seen another player down, and it's another player for Lions who've already used 4 substitutes. I think they're going to get another one.
Yeah, hopefully he's right. They did one ahead of there and went straight down, so hopefully it's nothing too serious for the young fella. Might just be cramp. Ooh, yeah, it looks like cramp from the young fella, which at 20 years of age or 19, wherever he is, he's only been on for however long. So, Cozzy, come on, mate. Where's the electrolytes? Got to look after yourself.
That's got to be a fine, hasn't it? Cramping after being a substitute.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's not even hot today.
Too busy partying on the yacht, as we said, celebrating the end of the uni year. But anyway, physio on the bench there, up off the bench, sorry. Andrew Vetter been quite busy for Lions in the last few weeks. So hopefully nothing too serious here for Cozzy, and it's just a bit of cramp and he's able to continue.
Yeah, it was Max Davison, the Western Pride goalkeeper, who unfortunately broke his leg really nastily in a game against the Brisbane Raw Youth towards the end of the season, and you wonder what difference that would have made for the Western Pride's hopes at retaining their championship, which they won quite unexpectedly last year. I think it's fair to say they were beaten in the semi-final by Olympic by 2-1. It was a key role in that side and managed to save. May as well should check out the Football Queensland YouTube channel and go back to that round. It was one of the most incredible saves I think I've ever seen from a penalty. Luke Barrean.
He did get up and get up in Borean's face after that one as well, but nonetheless, yeah, unfortunately he did break his leg, and that and losing Wenzel Halls midway through the season really did curtail their season, unfortunately.
Dylan Wenzel Halls will be playing for the Brisbane Roar this year, and the A-League kicking off in the weekend of the 19th to the 21st of October. Of course, the round one fixture that's got everyone talking and will capture everyone's attention is the Melbourne Derby. For our Victorian viewers today, particularly those watching at the Catalina Street HQ of Heidelberg, will be looking forward to that one. Should be a packed house down there. And hopefully we'll see plenty of packed houses throughout the A-League season. And of course the W-League, there'll be 3 games from the Brisbane Roar W-League team here at Lions Stadium, so it's good that they're coming out to some of these regional grounds, perhaps better suited to the sort of crowd that we'd get for women's football, and all of those games will be live streamed either on the MyFootball app or on Fox Sports.
Yeah, so great facilities here at Lions as well. I mean, plenty of parks and a great clubhouse, and as we said, a magnificent ground and well looked after club, so good venue for all those games to be played here. But nonetheless, this game's sort of petering out now with both sides, I think, just happy to get through. It's real been an arm wrestle this second half of extra time as a few tackles go flying in.
I'm surprised that wasn't a free kick in favour of Lions, because Mitch Hall's been completely
absolutely clattered. But anyway, Heidelberg will get one of those calls go their way finally.
Yeah, they've had a couple of rough decisions, have Heidelberg, but I think that one is firmly gone against Mitch Hall, who's still on the ground, and he might be cramping up.
Which is understandable for someone who runs as far as him, but as we said, he doesn't have any calf muscles, so I don't know what's cramping there. 1 minute out of time there by the 4th official, so yeah, not much left in this match. I doubt we're going to see any more goalmouth action at this rate, but certainly both sides are going to have to prepare themselves for a penalty shootout, looks like.
60 seconds to find a winner, or we will go to the purgatory of penalties. And you seem to be a fan, John T. It doesn't seem to worry you.
It's one of those, it's been around for a very long time. I mean, yes, it sort of is a cruel way to finish it, but at the end of the day, it does take a bit of skill, and more so it takes a lot of bottle because there's a lot of pressure. Certainly the advantage with the keepers, but at the end of the day, it's the same for both sides. And if you can't settle it in 2 hours of football, what else are you going to do to decide this match? I certainly wouldn't want to see a coin toss or having players to try and play an extra amount of time with less players on the field, you know. So I'm happy with the penalty shootout, and it's one of those you live or die by your spot kick.
Not over yet. Heidelberg continuing to press in these closing stages. Ellis and Offley just trying to get onto the end of that through ball, and that could have been interesting for Luke Barrean to deal with. Both goalkeepers, of course, their minds will be firmly on their spot kicks now, so saving, although, as we've already mentioned, both will probably take a spot kick as well. As this ball is delivered in, that's some throw-in. 2 Lions players, it's gone into the middle. Madley back there defending, and he hammers it clear. Solazano gives chase, but that is all we have, and we will have penalties here in the National Premier League semi-final to determine who will go through to the grand final to take on the winner of Campbeltown City against Sydney Olympic. So it's been an entertaining game. Both sides have given it their all, but yeah, 120 minutes of football and couldn't separate them.
Credit to Heidelberg as well. They played a lot of that match with 10 men after the send-off, which we're still not 100% sure what went down there for that card. But Yeah, penalties it is, and Heidelberg unlucky certainly with that Ellis chance there. Could have taken this game from Lions, but the result is a penalty shootout, and it's all to play for still.
Right, John T, you've been in these situations before. What do you do? What goes through your mind now? Now that you know it's a penalty shootout, you're taking the first penalty. What do you do?
Oh, I'm happy to take the first one. It's usually if you're 3 or 4 that you get nervous, but I certainly love taking penalties myself. I've missed some important ones and scored some good ones, but I think the most important thing is you want your first 5 to be at least confident in taking their penalty. It's always that poor guy who's not really feeling it, who generally misses. But 2 great goalkeepers here, so that's going to make it really interesting. Borean obviously saved quite a few just recently, and also the hyphenator. I'm sure he's going to fancy himself as well. And I mean, I am looking forward to seeing both keepers take one themselves as well. I mean, they certainly do have that confidence, so it's just down to the rest of the players that you just got to step up, pick your spot, and stick to it. I think it's anyone, if they go in there with a bit of doubt, is a real detriment to themselves, and that's when things go wrong. So, but nonetheless, here we go.
Is Warren Moon a believer in practicing penalties?
Oh no, I don't think either side have done that too much. I dare say. I mean, I'm sure there's a bit of muck around after training where a couple of the boys will take a few pot shots, but as far as Lions concerned, they haven't been religiously practicing spot kicks at the end of the session, and I'm sure it's the same for Heidelberg. They've had more important things to worry about, like semi-finals and finals. And one thing we can say is normally here at Lions, they take the penalties down to our left-hand side here as we're watching it near the car park end, but looks like the referees decided to have it at the den end, which not too many supporters there during this match, but they're all congregating behind the goal there, so certainly make for some interesting confrontations here with a few fans behind the goal, but I'm sure most of the players are used to seeing that. So I think generally the side that takes the first penalty has the advantage, but looks like it's going to be Lions here with young Nathan Shepherd, young Scotsman. He's probably got the folks here watching him out from Scotland, so I'm sure he'll want to slot this one away and give Lions the advantage.
So nerves will be running through all the players now, and for Heidelberg, who have a grand final against Avondale this coming Sunday at Amy Park. Make sure you get down there. It's a triple header of finals action down from the Football Federation Victoria. The National Premier League's down there, so all our Victorian viewers, make sure you check out. And Heidelberg looking to make the grand final of the National Premier Leagues for the second time, and be just the second time a Victorian team, which is remarkable considering the strength of the National Premier League's Victoria. Just the second time a Victorian side has made the final. So they're looking to do so, and it'll be Nathan Shepherd who goes up against Chris Theodoridis Petropoulos, the Heidelberg United goalkeeper. He's not the tallest, but he's an excellent shot stopper. Sent the wrong way that time, and Lions have the advantage early on.
Yeah, great left-footed penalty there from young Shepherd, so that'll do Lions a world of good with their confidence, as looks like, who we got here? Bile stepping up for this one, so he's impressed me tonight. Bile's been a big lad, but he's been about and has really played well, caused the Lions attackers all sorts of problems, and if his game's anything to go by, I'm sure he'll slot this one, but I'm fearful I might have put the mocker on him with that one. But usually the centre-backs, they know nonsense, and they'll find the corners with a nice power.
34-year-old Englishman, known as the Iceman. Didn't score in the regular season in the normal matches, but as captain is taking it upon himself to take this penalty.
Good run up at it.
Left footer.
Great penalty there. Done well, the left footers. So 1-1 as Madley steps up here, but yeah, good to see some nice penalties. Not too much crowd noise behind there, so I dare say the Lions supporters could give the team a bit more support there when Heidelberg taking those penalties, but 1-1.
Heidelberg bench all standing together. Lions just sitting back relaxing as if they're watching their favourite TV show, and perhaps watching Marek Madley score goals is very pleasurable for them, but he is up against it here. Madeley against Theodoridis.
Referee just not happy with his placement there of the ball on the spot, so he's just had to move it back a little bit. I'm sure Madeley doesn't want to put it in the little divot there, so maybe something for the groundsman to work on, but it's always hard to get those penalty spots right.
Theodoridis gets involved now, and Martin Krunis just tells the keeper to get back on his line. Madeley. That's a fantastic save by Theodoridis. That is absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good penalty. Probably the only thing you could say, Madeley there, decent height for the keeper, but what a strong hand from him there. The hyphenator swatted that one away, so great save there. As the keepers have a bit of a chat to each other here, but I think Borean's better off just getting in the goal and trying to get in young Ellis's head here.
Sean Ellis, who equalised in the 71st minute for Heidelberg. Scotsman from Ross County. One Scotsman's already scored.
Another lefty by the looks of things, so far the lefties have been on target.
Lucky lefty. Again, see that ball has gone into a little divot.
Yeah, a few of the players just trying to put it to the side, but it's one of those, the letter of the law, it's got to be right on that spot as the referee is keeping a close eye on it, and as the ball rolls in there again, so hopefully that doesn't affect him too much.
Luke Berean saves. Now both players who've had trouble putting their ball down on the spot have both missed.
Yeah, and he just walking back past that spot, he's looked at the ground there, so obviously played a part in his thinking at least anyway, but unfortunately not a great penalty there. Very close to the middle of the goal, and Borean once again doing a great job there, and we find ourselves all square once again.
Advantage was in Heidelberg's court momentarily. And now we are back on level terms, and it'll be the centre-back, Tommy Jarrett, who steps up to take the third penalty for Lions.
Again there, just the referee telling them to put it on that spot. Tommy J not happy with it either, so giving it a bit of a kick with his foot. So clearly there's a bit of a divot there, which players don't want to place the ball in, but nonetheless, here he is.
Comfortable penalty there, taken by Tommy Jarrett. And Lions now have the advantage again. It's back in Heidelberg's court.
Great penalty there again. The centre-backs doing it for the Union. Both him and Biles slotting that one away. So a little bit of pressure on here for Cahill, who's been excellent all night. You'd think he'd put this one away, but again, that penalty spot, everyone's had a good look at it, and the referee being a real stickler. So at least it's even for everyone. That's the only thing you can say.
Not too much nonsense in placing that ball down from Cahill. And he runs up, no nonsense, and that's not gone into the back of a net. It was off the crossbar. He gave it everything, and a little bit too much power, not enough placement.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Borean did pick the right way, but unfortunately for the Burgers, Thomas Cahill has put that one into the crossbar, and advantage Lions as Borean steps up.
Well, we knew it would happen. Luke Berean looking to hammer home the advantage now. Lions leading this shootout after 3 penalties each by 2-1. Luke Berean just trying to be put off by Theodoridis, who comes out to check the placement once more. Berean not taking any notice though, only has eyes for the ball. Oh, that is some penalty from Luke Berean.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That is quite exceptional from the goalkeeper.
I'll tell you what, he probably had his heart in his mouth for a split second there, but he did the old fake run up there and slotted that one. I mean, sent the hyphenator the wrong way, but I mean, cleaned out the cobwebs with that one.
You can't place them much better than that. That was absolutely remarkable from Luke Berean, the confidence of the man to do that. Yeah,
great penalty that one. So Ruben Way here with a little bit of pressure on him. Again, he's looking at the spot, not too happy with it. So lefty once again. Let's see what he can do.
Ruben Way saved, and Lions are through to the grand final.
Well, Luke Borean, the hero once again, some penalty by him to put Lions in front, and then great save by him there. Ruben Way a bit unlucky there. He did find the corner, but yeah, Borean, what a strong hand down to his right-hand side, and Lions into the final of the National Premier Leagues looking for the treble.
What a season this has been for Lions. I mean, I've made my views clear on penalties. I think they're abhorrent. It's a horrible way to lose any game, but you're right, there has to be some sort of tiebreaker, and it is a game of skill, and Luke Bryan showed plenty of that both in taking and scoring those penalties. Yeah, saving those penalties.
That's right. Well, great work by Borean once again, saved the day, so his value surely goes up and up and up, but a bit of disappointment for Heidelberg. They really did fight all the way here, and unfortunately for them, they're going to have to get back down to Melbourne and try and pick themselves up for their grand final this weekend. But in terms of the National Premier League's final series, is not to be for the Burgers, and Lions live to fight another day.
Well, how do Heidelberg bounce back from this? They have a massive grand final now. It was the disappointment of missing out on the grand final last year against Bentley Greens that really drove them this season, and it's a match against the real surprise package of the league, Avondale. They've spent a lot of money down there in Victoria, have Avondale. They've got an FFA Cup game tomorrow. Of course, you can catch that on Fox Sports against Sydney FC, so another big night for Avondale. They could go to extra time, they could go to penalties, they could suffer late heartbreak as well, or they could go into that game on Sunday at Amy Park full of confidence, and that'll be a disaster for Heidelberg, really.
Yeah, I mean, tough one for them to get back up. I mean, taking out the league's the big one for me as a player anyway, but yeah, the grand final is where everyone sees the real champions at, so it's going to be a tough one for Heidelberg. But as you said, Avondale spending a lot of money, which, I mean, in terms of budgets, all the Victorian clubs are well above even, let's say, the Lions, dwarfing their spending on players. But yeah, as you see, sometimes it's not always about the money, it's who turns up on the day. So for Heidelberg, it's really about just going back home, preparing for that grand final, and hopefully sticking it to Avondale.
And of course, they have an FFA Cup tie as well, a real opportunity to make the semi-finals as they take on Bentley Greens, their arch rivals, for following week. That's Wednesday the 26th of September. APL Leichhardt and Adelaide United, the other semi-final next week. Melbourne City taking on Western Sydney Wanderers tomorrow in the All A-League quarter-final of the FFA Cup. We'll wrap things up here very, very shortly, but just a couple more thoughts from you, Jonty Richter. That was a very tough game for Lions, but they now have over a week to prepare for what will be one of the biggest games in the club's recent history. I mean, they've not won a national competition since the NSL Cup back in 1981. I mean, this is some achievement for Lions in their first season in the National Premier Leagues.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, commiserations for the Burgers. They really did fight hard here, and it was a very even contest, made even tougher for them going down to 10 men. But yeah, for Lions, I mean, they've always been a big club here in Brisbane, and a very rich history going back a long time. But their first season up in the NPL and the DOP League, and to take out the league and the grand final, and now fighting for this national championship is quite an amazing feat for a club considered a community club last year, you know. But just shows credit to the board and all the football department as well. They've really done everything they can to support the players and the coach, and yeah, as we said, they are fighting for this national championship. It'll be some achievement if they can achieve it, and I suppose the big bonus is that automatic entry into the FFA Cup round of 32 for next season, where you'll save yourself 5 games next season, which is in Queensland is going to be an extended season of 28 rounds. So if you can get away with not playing 5 of those cup ties to get into the FFA Cup, it's going to really help those Lions next season when they try and go back-to-back and retain their title of Queensland champions.
Certainly puts Lions on the front foot. They will take on the winner of Campbeltown City and Sydney Olympic in that grand final, and the way things stand, Lions only got 1 point for winning that game on penalties, plus the 3 for the home goal. So that's just an extra 4 points. So that's 9 points that Lions have, unless I've missed a yellow card in that situation. And that's not very many. I mean, that's a lot behind Campbeltown. So if Campbeltown City manage to get up over Sydney Olympic, then they will win. Sydney Olympic, if they win, will they'll have scored 4 points for a goal. And you'd have to say that they'll look to be hosting, so it might be a trip away for Lions, and I don't think many of the boys will mind having a bit of a trip away at the end of the season.
That's right, almost a little bonus there, but the same time, I'm sure they'd love to host the final here. So maybe in a small way, they'd be hoping that Olympic do get a little 1-0 win there. But saying that, seeing a few highlights on both of those sides, really, really good sides, and especially Sydney Olympic, they play some really nice football. So either one of those opponents are going to be a tough one for Lions. But as I said, they're just happy to be there right now, and I suppose they'll worry about who they're playing against when they know.
Thank you very much, John T. It's been a real pleasure to call this one alongside you, and plenty more football to come, of course, over the next few days. Tomorrow, Avondale taking on Sydney FC and Melbourne City against Western Sydney Wanderers in the FFA Cup. They'll be able to watch on Fox Sports and across the live stream. And then on Saturday, have the Football Federation Victoria National Premier League's grand final. Heidelberg taking on Avondale down at Amy Park. Make sure you get your tickets for that one. It should be a fantastic occasion down there, a triple header. The reserve grade final, or the promotion relegation playoff, and the women's championship. So it should be an excellent night down there. And then, of course, on the Wednesday, following Wednesday, it'll be Bentley against Heidelberg, Bentley Greens against Heidelberg United in the FFA Cup quarter-final, as well as APL Leichhardt against Adelaide United in that competition to see who'll go through to the semi-finals. The A-League's not far away, just 1 month to go before the round kicks off with the Melbourne Derby on the Saturday. It's the 19th to the 21st of October for the A-League. The W-League follows the next week. All those games will be able to watch live on the MyFootball app, as well as occasional select games on Fox Sports. And then there is international football coming up as well. The Socceroos, particularly for those fans in Queensland, are playing South Korea on the 17th of November. Get your tickets for that one now. Congratulations to Lions. Commiserations to the National Premier League's champions, Heidelberg. Their reign as national champions is over, but best of luck to all supporters and players for their local grand final on Sunday. John T, it's been a pleasure to have you alongside me. I've been Simon Smell. It's been a Sportscast Productions for the Football Federation Australia. Andrew producing for us. Thank you very much for all your work today, and for our cameramen and women around the ground. It's good night for me. Enjoy the rest of your week, and best of luck to Lions in the grand final next weekend.